Everybody's all set?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good morning. The City of Boston Zoning Board of Appeal hearing for November 10th is now in session. This hearing is being conducted in accordance with the applicable provisions of the open meeting law and the executive order of Governor Baker, suspending certain provisions thereof due to the ongoing public health crisis. This hearing is being held remotely via the WebEx platform. This hearing is also being live streamed. In order to ensure this hearing of the board is open to the public, members of the public may access the hearing through telephone and video conferencing. The information for connecting to this hearing is listed on today's hearing agenda, which is posted on the public notices page of the city's website, boston.gov. Members of the public will enter the virtual hearing as attendees, which means you will not see yourself on the screen and you will be muted throughout, unless administratively unmuted when asked to comment. As with our in-person meetings, comments in support will be followed by comments in opposition. The order of comments is as follows: elected officials, representative of elected officials, and members of the public. The number of people called upon to offer comment and the time for commenting will be limited by the chair as time constraints require. For that reason, the board prefers to hear from members of the public who are most impacted by the project. That is, those individuals who live closest to it. If you wish to comment on an appeal, please click the raise your hand icon in the application via the WebEx event platform. To raise your hand, click the participant information icon. From there, find your name, and on the lower right-hand side, you should see a hand raising icon. Click the icon and your hand will be raised virtually. Click it again and your hand should go down. If you are connected to the hearing by telephone, please press *3. Let me just repeat that for people who are on the telephone. Please press *3 to raise your hand. Those called upon to comment will be asked to state their name and address first, and then can provide their comments. In the interest of time and to ensure that you have enough time to do so, please raise your hand as soon as Mr. Fortune reads the address into the record. I'd like to remind all participants to this meeting that this is a public meeting. So please refrain from sending comments via chat to any individual board member. Anything you need to say can be said publicly. I will now just take just a check-in to ensure which board members are here. Mr. Fortune?
Here, Madam Chair.
Mr. Ehrlich?
Here.
Mr. Ruggiero? Mr. Kendall?
Ruggiero was here.
Yeah, I'm Joe. Joe's here. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Kendall? Mr. DeVoe?
Here.
Just double check, is Mr. Kendall in? Because I know sometimes he has audio issues.
I don't see him, Chair.
He's not here yet? Okay. I'd like also to acknowledge that there are two board members who have been approved. Costa Ligris, representative from the Real Estate Board. Costa, thank you for being part of this meeting and observing how we do business here. We look forward to having you on board at the next meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, also Jean Pinato. I'm not sure if Jean's on, but welcome, Jean. She's an alternate, my alternate from the mayor's appointee. So, so Jean, I'm hoping you're on, and welcome aboard too. I also, is Jeff Hampton on?
Good morning, Madam Chair. Jeff Hampton here from the BPDA.
Okay. I also understand that there might be audio issues with you, so please let me know when you go in and out via my phone, okay?
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. So we will proceed when Mr. Kendall is on. We will then acknowledge him and make sure that we have a full 6-member board. Mr. Fortune?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning. I'm going to call the first order of business is the extensions, calling BOA 719-823 29 A Street. Madam Chair, this did expire on 9/15/2020. Name and address for the record, please.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is George Moranci. I'm an attorney with the business address of 350 West Broadway in South Boston. Madam Chair, members, this is a matter approved in 2017 to erect a new 6-story building containing 9 dwelling units at 29 A Street in South Boston. Madam Chair, I know for the record that I submitted the extension request letter on August 24th, 2020. The decision of the board entered on September 15th, 2017. This is a second extension request, and the relief is actually still active owing to the governor's order on COVID. The reason for the second request, Madam Chair and members, is 29 A Street. My client has an ongoing business there. It's A Street Scrap Metals, and he has been trying to relocate his business in order to commence construction. That has been more difficult owing, of course, to considerations of the pandemic, but he is close to securing a location and is requesting a 1-year extension just to allow him to complete the relocation of his business so that he can commence the project.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to extend for a year from 9/15/20.
Second, Ed DeVoe.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I think Tyrone Kendall may be on.
Thank you. Mr. Kendall, are you on? Okay, let's just proceed, and then we will acknowledge.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 853-913 160 West 7th Street. Madam Chair, this is due to expire December 14th of this year. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Attorney Derek Small of a business address of 51 Dobson Road, Braintree, Mass. Madam Chair, we're here requesting a 1-year extension of the board's decision on this matter.
Is this the first request for an extension?
Yes, it is.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Motion to extend for a year from date of termination.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 873-206 26 Mystic Street. Madam Chair, this was due to expire on 12/21/2020. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Jeremy Sears, an attorney with a business address of 160 Federal Street here in Boston. I'm sitting in behalf of Patrick Mahoney. We are requesting.
Let me ask you, Counselor, is this the first request for extension?
It is, Madam Chair.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Motion to extend for a 1 year beyond date of termination.
Second, Ed DeVoe.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members of the board.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 830090 4 Mystic Street. Madam Chair, this is due to expire on 12/21/2020. Name and address for the record, please.
Mr. Ambassador, is Mr. Sheehan on?
Yes. Tim, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Name and address for the record, please.
Yes, this is Timothy Sheehan at 9 Wall Street, Charlestown. I'm the architect for the project.
Jim, is this the first request for extension?
Yes, it is.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Motion to extend for a year beyond date of termination.
Second, Joe.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, everyone.
Madam Chair, calling the next case is the call of the chair.
Hold on, Mr. Fortune. I just need to clarify, is Mr. Kendall on or not?
Madam Chair, we just reached out to him. I've been informed that he's trying to connect to the hearing right now.
Okay, so, Mr. Fortune, let's hold off until we have him on board, okay?
Very good, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Can we go to deferrals, or anything like that for the 9:30s?
I'm sure we can. We can go to that. So I'm going to call any deferrals or withdrawals for 9:30 only. This is deferrals or withdrawals for 9:30 only, and please give me the address.
Mr. Fortune, 41 Mount Vernon Street.
Thank you. For the record, calling BOA 109-8399, 41 Mount Vernon Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Madam Chair, members, my name is George Barancio, an attorney with the business address of 350 West Broadway in South Boston. Madam Chair, members, owing to an error in the refusal letter, this matter has been re-advertised to be heard on December 8th.
That is correct, Madam Chair.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
For deferral.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And what time is it on December 8th, Mr. Fortune?
It is at 9:30 a.m.
Thank you.
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals for 9:30 only? Address, please. Is the applicant for 502 East 8th Street on?
Mr. Clerk, I don't see Mr. Wallace, Bill Wallace.
I'll call it in later, but Madam Chair, we're at the understanding it could be withdrawn, but we don't have a letter.
So is there anybody from the mayor's office who could speak to this? Okay, let's just proceed with the first, the 9:30 case.
I believe Tyrone is on. Okay.
Mr. Kendall, are you on?
Yeah, good morning, Madam Chair.
Good morning. Thank you. I understand you had audio issues. So let's go to call of the chair.
Okay, Madam Chair. I'm going to call case BOA 100-6349, 125 Addison Street. This is to raise the existing dwelling, erect a new building consisting of 9 executive suites with parking for 10 vehicles. The violation is Article 53, Section 25, the use is conditional, and Article 27T-5, this is in the East Boston iPod. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Richard Lins, 245 Sumner Street, East Boston, on behalf of the petitioner of Volney Capital. And we are back before the board after a full hearing on this.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, I need to recuse myself from this case.
Okay, for the record, Mr. Ruggiero has recused himself. I just want to make sure that we read into the record the fact that this came in as an interpretation to the Board of Appeal for 125 Addison Street. I forget the date, but we referred it to the law department to help us with this. And as is usually the case, the law department has sent us information that is private and confidential to this board on their read of the matter. May I hear from anybody on the board so that we can move the agenda case along?
Madam Chair, Mark Ehrlich. Yeah, we requested an opinion from the law department because this is one of the number of executive suite proposals that has come before this board. The opinion that we received indicated that the proposal was a potential violation of the city's short-term rental ordinance, and that the only way to cure that would be to have a proviso, if we approved, that would require minimum stays of 28 days. But given the difficulties of enforcing that under normal conditions, and now the increased difficulties of enforcing such a requirement during the pandemic, based on the opinion we received from the law department, I would make a motion for denial.
Is there a second?
Madam Chair, may I be heard?
No. May I have is there a second?
I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. May we have the next case, please?
Calling the next case, calling BOA 109-3253, 97 to 101 Porter Street. This is to combine parcels to create one lot consisting of 17,030 square feet and erect a new 4-story residential dwelling consisting of 9 units with 17 parking spaces. The violation is Article 27T-5, this is in the East Boston iPod. Article 53, Section 56, off-street parking, loading and requiring insufficient parking. Article 53, Section 56.5.a, parking maneuverability. Article 53, Section 57, conformity with existing street wall alignment. Article 53, Section 8, the MFR is forbidden. Article 53, Section 9, excessive in height. Article 53, Section 9, number of allowed stories has been exceeded. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient rear yard setback. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Richard Lins, 245 Sumner Street, East Boston, the attorney for the petitioner MG2 Group. Madam Chair, we can just jump to the next slide, I think works well. So as the secretary indicated, this is the assembly of 9 parcels into a 17,000 square foot lot. Our proposal is now for townhouse style residential development. This was originally proposed almost 2 years ago.
Counselor, I just want to make sure that everybody is clear that this is, we do not start off with what a developer might envision, but our base point, as is with all the zoning violations cited, is the zoning code. So please do save us the time and just refer back to the zoning code so we understand what it is in context of the zoning.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yep, sorry. So this project would sit on a 17,000 square foot site. It is located in the 3F 2000 district. Our proposal would provide 9 townhouse style units, which is allowed in the 3F 2000 district. I can jump to the next slide. We can talk a little about the site context.
Yes, please go ahead.
So what we're seeing here is the existing neighborhood context. This site is located to the rear of an existing structure located on Porter Street. You can see in the upper left corner the building that has the billboard on top of it is an existing condition. You can go to the next slide. So the access point off of Porter Street is here. The 17,000 square foot lot is located to the rear portion of this existing building and the other buildings that are surrounding the site. Next slide, please. We can see an outline here, and I would point out that although this is operated and used as a parking lot, it is separate and distinct from the associated business that's located on Porter Street. You can go to the next slide. We are showing here all of our assembled parcels. All of the colored parcels represent the 17,000 square feet that is being proposed. Next slide. So our proposed site plan shows access to the site from Porter Street, which has 55 feet of frontage. There is access rights over Paris Place, which is shown to the top portion of the screen. We are showing a total of 20 parking spaces. 17 of those are located outside the property. 12 of those would be associated with the proposed 9 units, and the remaining 8 would be for visitor parking as well as used by the adjacent restaurant. You know, the next slide.
Councilor, just can you hold on for a second, because I neglected to mention that this is a 6-member board and you need 5 members to be in support for this to carry. And this is for all other members who are, all other applicants who are in queue, just a reminder, okay?
Sure, thank you. So just briefly, as we see the layout and programming here, I can give you just a brief breakdown of the unit sizes. 3 of these townhomes, Madam Chair, will be 3+ bed, 3.5 bath, with about 2,000 square feet of living space. Again, this is in response to a number of comments that we heard through community process about size of units and proposed size of units in the neighborhood. These are intended certainly to accommodate a family with the size of the units, including lower level office space based upon the market shifting, with COVID and having a lot of more desire to see at-home workspace. 3 of the other units are a little bit smaller, about 1,600 square feet, but still 3 bed, 3 bath with a bi-level style. And then we do have 3 units at approximately 625 square feet at 1 bedroom, 1 bath. As I mentioned previously, this site is located at 3F 2000 district. The 3F 2000 district requires 1,000 square feet of land area for each proposed dwelling unit in this configuration. Even though we are proposing to combine all of the parcels into one lot at 17,000 square feet, we are proposing this to be one single lot, and therefore the MFR violation would be triggered. However, we would have more than enough square feet to meet the requirements under Article 53. With 17,000 square feet of land available, we are below the FAR maximum requirement, which is 1.0. We are at 0.94, so therefore we can comply with the code based upon the proposed layout of this building. We are, as I mentioned, providing a total of 20 parking spaces on site. A number of those spaces will result in 2 spaces being assigned to some units, but each space will have at least 1 parking space. The code would require 16 parking spaces in total for this configuration. We do provide 20. However, as I indicated, because this is townhouses, the larger units would be assigned 2 spaces, and the smaller units would be assigned at least 1 parking space. With respect to the height of the building, Madam Chair, the bulk of this building is at 31 feet, which is below the height requirement for the zoning. We do show a penthouse level that does not have any bedrooms or other space, but that's designed or intended to be designed to allow for the arrangement of private roof decks, since these buildings are all located adjacent to one another. So the penthouse level does exceed the height limit, but again, the bulk of this building is designed to be conforming with Article 53 of the code. Last but not least, with respect to the open space, we do provide both exterior decks, roof decks, and some patios to the rear of the building. And again, this is a direct response to the requests and comments that we heard throughout the community process. I'm happy to answer any questions from the board.
Okay. Can you speak about the intended roof decks? I was just trying to understand how that level is going to work. As I look at this, what is it, MG2? Is that the name of the drawing that's up right now? Is that the proposed access to the roof?
I'm looking at an elevation, which is page 12, Madam Chair. Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's what's up, yeah.
Yeah, so this is just showing a couple of different design options, but I can explain this briefly. If you look at the right side of the building, those are the 3-level larger townhouse units, and the upper level, that 4th level penthouse, is the access to the roof deck for each of these. It's not intended to be a head house, but rather than making a full 4th level, we lowered the roof deck from above the 4th level originally down to above the 3rd level, but just accessed by a penthouse. If you look at the left side of the screen, the upper levels show the sort of medium-sized units that occupy the 2nd and 3rd level, and then we have access to their own private roof deck as well. And then the lower levels on the left-hand side are the smaller 1-bedroom units that have outdoor patio space to live there.
And so the 1-bedrooms essentially would be the handicapped accessible units?
They are adaptable, although because it's a townhouse style building, I'm not sure that we're required, but they certainly are adaptable, so yes.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
Well, the choice to do penthouses as a way of sort of getting around the height issue, I think, is a little disingenuous. Mr. Lind said that the bulk of the building is below the height levels, but the truth is, I mean, you've got 6 sizable penthouses, so it may not constitute a complete 4th story, but for all practical purposes, I think that the height should be considered at the top of the penthouses, which does exceed the zoning requirements. The other point I would make on the parking, if you look at the site plan A10, as Mr. Lind, as I see it, it seems like a number of the parking space, there's 3 parking spaces under the building inside, and then there are parking spaces directly in front. You couldn't get a car out of the parking spaces inside without moving the other one, so it is tandem. So
if I can respond to that through the chair. First of all, with respect to the penthouse versus roof deck, this building that went through the community process was actually approved by the Civic Association at 4 stories with a roof deck above it. We modified it, notwithstanding that support for a larger building, to bring down the roof decks to the 3rd level, but to...
No, yeah, Mr. Lind, all I'm saying is that you really should deal with the height at the top of the penthouse, that's all.
Yeah, so I do indicate it's 41 feet. We are requesting relief.
Okay.
With respect to the parking, Mr. Ehrlich, we do see the tandem spaces, but those multi-parking space units are the larger 2,000 square foot units, so they do have 2 spaces. We do show additional parking, surface parking. You just didn't draw the cars in them. It would have the ability to have additional surface parking out front, and then we do see that one that's further towards the middle of the site that does not have under the building parking, and then you have the 10 spaces located sort of angle parking further down. So
no. I mean, it's, you know, look, this is a dense city, and everybody has to figure out how to cram everything in that they can. I get that. I just would prefer that when you present, you know, the height is 41 feet, and that's what we should be. And if we're going to give relief, that's fine. And the parking should be described for what it is, which is tandem. That's all. I just kind of, you know, let's have, in the word that's very popular this week, let's have some transparency here.
I apologize, Mr. Ehrlich. It's not intended to be non-transparent. I apologize.
Yes, go ahead.
Secretary here. Bob D'Amico has weighed in on the parking, so I don't know if we want to leave that up there, that blueprint there. But I will read into the record, Bob D'Amico's, regarding 97-101 Porter Street, he suggests the following. The number of spaces should be reduced to 11.
Yeah.
4 spaces should be removed in front of the garages, and 2 spaces should be removed from the angle parking to improve maneuverability.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lenz, this proposal is tucked in and is impacting a number of abutters, you know, around and about on off of Porter Street, out of Paris, etc. Can you tell us what screening and buffering is proposed to limit the impact on the existing homes?
Yes, and Madam Chair, thank you. That issue has been raised throughout this community process. One of the things, the biggest concern that we heard from abutters on Paris Street, at least with the proposed original building, was shadow impact on their building. So we had some shadow analysis done. That's one of the reasons why we've configured the building accordingly. We do show setback both from Drake Place, Paris Street, and as well as Leo Greco Terrace, which is to the left of your screen. All of those areas are intended to be landscape buffer, which we expect to be done through BPDA design review. In addition, moving the parking closer to the middle of the site as opposed to the site toward the top of the screen was to reduce the impact on the Paris Street abutters, and we can certainly accommodate screening and buffering along the rear portions of the Paris Street property. So yes, that was contemplated throughout the process, and we're happy to incorporate that into our plan.
The other question is, I noticed that the project that is not part of this with the billboard is this lot dedicated in any way to ancillary parking for any commercial uses? Has it come in any agreements in the past to provide parking for anybody around, any owners in proximity?
So, Madam Chair, I can say with confidence when we did the analysis on the restaurant is the former site of Sabloni's Veil and Vintage, which was sort of an institution in the East Boston neighborhood. And this lot was separate from that for as many years as Sablone's was in business. When Sablone's had gone out of business, it was acquired, the building, the real estate was acquired by one entity that ended up using the parking spaces in connection with the restaurant, but there was never a formal expansion of the restaurant that resulted in parking relief that would be necessary. So these have remained independent, even though ultimately in common ownership. And the current operator of the restaurant is a tenant of the owner of the property, and therefore parking accommodations will be addressed and made. And that's something that's already been worked out with the restaurant.
So this is not part of this proposal, but it is in common ownership. Is that billboard on Porter Street legal or not?
It is legal, and Madam Chair, when this originally was discussed as a development site, the first step was to eliminate the building with the billboard to open up more access onto Porter Street. Through the due diligence and analysis for the site, the billboard operator actually maintains an easement on the roof, and therefore nothing below the billboard can be removed. It was the owner's intention to eliminate that. There were discussions with the operator, but it didn't seem that would go anywhere. So the only option for development would be to preserve the existing building and the billboard, but that was something that we certainly contemplated.
That's interesting. So the billboard operator has an easement. What is the process for extinguishing an easement?
In layman's terms, Madam Chair, the easement rights that the billboard operator has is essentially ownership of the roof. So even though that was our predecessor Untitled who made that arrangement, so even though my client does own the building underneath, there's an incumbent obligation on that owner to maintain the billboard, or at least maintain the building to support the billboard. So he's sort of bought into the operation. Receives no revenue from it because the arrangement that allowed for the easement essentially gave the rights on the roof to the billboard operator.
Wow, that's very interesting. Okay. Okay, so we have all the information we need. Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Lina Tramelli with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on the record in support. Based on the feedback received during the community process, the applicant modified the proposal, increasing the open space and the parking ratio, reducing the number of units, and also the stories and the density. And also the applicant made a comment to go back to the Everett Central Neighborhood Association and work close with them on landscaping, use on open space, and the design. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Ricardo Patron from the Office of City Councilor Lydia Edwards. The councilor would also like to go on the record in support of this proposal.
Thank you. Anybody else to speak in support or in opposition?
Madam Chair, Secretary here. We have no letters of support, 2 letters of opposition.
Madam Chair, I have one raised hand.
Thank you.
Mr. Sampson, you can please.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is David Sampson. I live at 139 Paris Street. I'm a direct abutter to 97-107 Porter. Myself, along with my neighbors, you have 2 letters. I don't believe you have 2 others. However, we oppose the project because most of all the variances, including off-street parking and loading variance, dimensional variance, and the excessive height variance. I don't have much time, so I'll talk about the most obvious, the parking. And a little lay of the land for us. At 112 Paris Street, next to the development, you have the Paris Street Gym. Just last year, the city finished...
Excuse me, sir. Can you please not read to us, but just tell us, use your own words, and talk to us, okay?
Sure. I'll try and do the best I can. I'm a little nervous here. This is my first time at the zoning board. But at the gym, they just last year, the city finished a $2 million renovation. The gym has taken away parking spaces as crosswalks and drop-off zones. The improvement to the gym has doubled the daily parking on Parrott Street, and it's tripled it on the weekends. We also have the DOT, or the Easy Pass building, just next to it, at the corner of Paris and Porter Street. Recently, the DOT folks took it upon themselves to reserve the right side of Paris Street with painted yellow lines as no parking loading zone for their own trucks. From that move, Madam Chair, we lost another 6 spaces. Within a year, 12 lost parking spaces, directly impacting us, the residents. On this proposed horseshoe lot we're talking about, it should be known that the owner also owns the restaurant space in the 3-family home. The current restaurant has a seating capacity of 50 plus inside and also another 25 plus on the outside. At any one time, they can easily have up to 60 people and 25 to 30 cars parking in this parking lot. About the proposed parking, the owner has already leased back 10 of the proposed parking spaces to the restaurant and another 2 spaces to the tenants in the 3-family. That takes away 12 spaces, Madam Chair, in their presentation immediately. In addition, the restaurant, as they do now, they're using 2 spaces for the dumpster, grease trap, and trash barrels. And then I'm also wondering about the handicap spaces. If you take the minimum of the 2 handicap spaces, please tell me, how many spaces do we really have left for the new residents and the restaurant?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for raising that issue. Is there anything else that you want to highlight besides the parking? And that was very helpful. Thank you.
The last thing I have to mention is there's no other option. The closest garage parking for us in East Boston is in the North End. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate the time.
Thank you. Ms. Ambassador, any more raised hands?
No other raised hands, but someone did send a comment. She had to go back to work. I sent it to you. I'm not sure if you want me to read it into the.
Please, Miss Ambassador, did you get her name? This is, and please put it in the general chat, that the person was speaking in opposition because of the unaffordability, the insufficient parking and height, which are suffocating the neighbors with yards. Let's see, and that this is out of context of the 2- and 3-family residential area. Mr. Lenz, and her name for the record is Joni DeMazzo. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. What I want to make sure, Counselor, is that, as you know, you've been before us very many times, that every project needs to stand on its own. And I just need clarification that this proposed parking, that the proposed parking is solely for the use of the restaurant, of the residents, that it is not sublet out, or there's anything else that is in the works that will actually decrease the number of spaces available for the residents of this proposed dwelling.
Let me speak clearly for the record, Madam Chair. The arrangement with the restaurant was with the full understanding that there had been development plans for this site prior to even when the restaurant took over its current operation. So the restaurant is very clear that there is a development plan. They have been present at community meetings when we proposed it, and that if there is additional parking available, then that arrangement can be worked out with them. However, there is at least 1 parking space available for each proposed unit. It's one of the reasons we've reduced the project from 20 units down to the current 9. And again, because we did hear concerns over parking, we wanted to ensure that this would not be something that would be of concern to the surrounding neighborhood. if there are any arrangements, including the three-family dwelling, those again are arrangements that are accommodations, not requirements under any permits that are issued for either of those properties. So I just want to be very clear with the board on that. If the restaurant has an arrangement, it is certainly subject to the developer's right to build on the site. And that was something that was made very clear. And I don't have their lease in front of me, but I can assure the board that that is something that is quite clear with the current operator of the restaurant.
Okay, because with our concern across the city with these flag lots is that, in fact, that these projects, because we, in fact, are complementary to the neighborhood. So it sounds to me like the issues that need to be addressed in our vote is the parking, is design review, is for including significant screening and buffering, that Mr. D'Amico's and the Transportation Department's opinion is that, in fact, despite the fact that parking is proposed at 20 parking spaces, that in fact it should be reduced to 11 because that's what makes it maneuverable and makes sense, and that the top level with the penthouses should be eliminated. Does that make sense to the board members?
I'm prepared to make a motion for BPDA design review of the entire project, as well as second proviso that the BTD needs to be, that the developer needs to work with the BTD for a better parking design.
And how about the elimination of the penthouses, quote penthouses? Because we generally look for access through hatch. And so that's why I put that out there.
Right, well, these aren't exactly head houses. And this, I mean, this exceeds the height limited, but there is living space in those, so in a way, it's a way of getting around the, putting a full fourth story. But if it was reduced to below, it's actually below the height. So at least this board member, I'm okay with the penthouses as they exist.
Okay, so that's a motion.
I'm going to second his motion.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 103-8179, 142 Chelsea Street. This is to confirm the occupancy as a 3-family and change to a 4-family. Also to renovate the structure, erect a 4th-story addition, rear addition, and rear decks and egress stairs. The violation is Article 27G. This is in the East Boston iPod. Article 53, Section 56, off-street parking and loading. Article 53, Section 8, a 4-family use is forbidden. Article 53, Section 52, group structure restriction. Article 53, Section 9, the additional lot area is insufficient. Article 53, Section 9, the floor area ratio is excessive. Article 53, Section 9, the building height is excessive in stories. Article 53, Section 9, the building height is excessive in feet. Article 53, Section 9, usable open space is insufficient. Article 53, Section 9, the front yard is insufficient. Article 53, Section 9, the side yard is insufficient. And Article 53, Section 9, the rear yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Attorney Jeff Drago with an address of 11 Beacon Street from Drago in Toscano, representing the petitioner Addison Capital. And I also have the architect Adam Glassman with me. As mentioned, this proposal is to change the occupancy from an existing 3-family residential dwelling to a 4-family residential dwelling. It would add a top floor unit that's recessed. I just want to make a clarification in the comment. We have reduced, we've taken off the rear addition, so that no longer is part of this project, and the plans will reflect that.
Does Mr. Ehrlich have those plans?
Mr. Ehrlich, sure. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
It also include complete renovation of the structure and including rear decks and egress stairs, and it will be fully sprinklered. Just going over the layout of the building, and you can see the building just in the existing conditions picture right away, straight away at the brick building. The layout of the building in the basement will remain unfinished storage and utility space for all of the units. Going up to the first floor, we have an existing 2-bed, 1-bath, 800 square foot unit, and that'll also have a new rear deck, 14 by 10. The second unit is an existing 3-bed, 1-bath at 920 square feet, also with a rear deck and egress stair, same size. The third floor has an existing 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 920 square foot unit that's existing, also with rear deck and egress stair. And then the new unit on the 4th floor proposed is a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, 760 square foot unit, also with rear deck and egress stair, that also has a 10-foot pullback in the front of that unit, so it's recessed back. Just to go over the zoning violations that were mentioned, the use is a 3F district. We're proposing 4 units, so a use variance is required. Pre-existing condition for additional lot area, 1,000 per dwelling unit.
So, Counselor, can you hold on for a second? So the fact that you eliminated your rear addition, how does that change your violations?
So the fact that we've taken off the rear addition would reduce our FAR. So our FAR right now is 2.31. It was higher than that, or 2.35.
Okay. And
there's also a recommendation from the BPDA to remove that.
And is there a roof deck that 1 bed is recessed? Is that a proposed front area for a roof deck, or will that just remain rooftop?
That will remain rooftop, Madam Chair, so that that top unit is completely recessed back.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
I'm a little confused, Mr. Drago. On A21, if Colette, if you could bring that up. It looks to me like the floor to ceiling height in the new 4th floor is only 7 feet. Am I reading those plans right?
The existing height of the building.
No, not existing. The proposed addition on the 4th floor.
Right. So we're showing a height of 46 feet.
No. I'm not talking about the whole building. I'm talking about floor to ceiling height of the 4th floor. Look at the front elevation on A21. If you look at the top left, it shows 7 feet from the floor to the top of the roof, if I'm reading that correctly, which is inadequate.
The top of the roof that you see there.
It's the parapet out.
Put your name and address on the record, Mr. Glassman.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Adam Glassman, architect, 2 Worthington Street in Cambridge. And I see the point there.
You will meet all building code requirements in this development.
At the end of the day, we'll meet all building code requirements.
Well, it's not the end of the day. It's the drawings. I mean, it says to the top of the roof. What I'm trying to ascertain is what the floor to ceiling height is on that 4th floor, because it doesn't look adequate. And obviously, we're not going to prove anything without grant building code relief. So do you have something that shows that dimension?
Maybe Mr. Drago can continue while I look this up on my end right here.
All right. Other than that, the plans are okay, but that's a big other.
Okay. Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Lina Tramelli with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on the record in support. During the community process, this proposal received support from abutters and from the Maverick Central Neighborhood Association. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Ricardo Patron from the Office of City Councilor Lydia Edwards. The council would also like to go on the record in support.
Anybody else?
Madam Chair, Secretary here. We have 6 letters of support, and we have 1 letter of opposition.
Thank you. 6 of support, 1 of opposition.
Madam Chair, raise hands.
I'm sorry?
Madam Chair, there are no raised hands.
Okay. Given that information, may I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, do you want to wait till the architect?
Let's get clarification and then we'll
Yeah,
take.
I can answer this. I can't account for the typo on the elevation, but we will absolutely have code compliant head height on the 4th floor.
But it also says, Madam Chair, if I may, on A1.2, it says 4th floor plan, ceiling height is 9 feet. So
That's
I think
correct.
so there is just probably a typo on the elevations, but it does say 9 feet.
9 feet is correct, and that's also shown in the building section.
Okay, then I'll make a motion to approve with BPDA design review and no building code relief.
Is there a second?
Second that, Joe.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 110-4690, 185 London Street. This is to extend and repair the foundation within the setback at a penthouse floor and increase FAR, renovate interior. The violations, Article 2017, this is in the East Boston iPod. Article 53, Section 9, excessive FAR. Article 53, Section 9, excessive height. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient side yard setback. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. This is Nestor Lemus, owner occupant, address currently 235 Marginal Street in Chelsea. And if you'd like, I can go through the presentation.
Yes, please, please give us the highlights. So you're proposing, the ultimate goal is to add that penthouse floor. Are you proposing any occupancy in the basement?
We are proposing occupancy in the basement as it relates to the first floor combined. We're not changing the density, and it will be part of the first floor. And we also had a review by the Concon, Mr. Moreno, who determined that it's not in the high flood zone area. So we have a sign off.
So hold on. Let me just start. Let's talk about the basement. So what's the proposed occupancy in the basement?
It would be storage and residential use.
And what's the residential use?
It would be a family room and a bathroom and a bedroom or office.
So it would be a family room plus bedroom.
Correct.
Okay, and what's the floor to ceiling height down there?
It would be approximately a little under 8 feet.
8 feet, and for the bedroom, what's the floor to sill height? The bottom of the sill height?
It would be in compliance. I forget what the code is. It's either 2 to 3 feet because it's a walkout basement in the back, so we'll have an adequate egress window in the back.
And are the utilities separate from the unit?
The utilities will be in the mechanical space that's designated there inside the unit.
Okay. Tell us about the penthouse. What is the intention of the penthouse?
If we go to the upper slides showing some of the pictures reflect that the penthouse will be set back, and it's similar to the abutter. If we go up a little bit more, please. There's a slide that shows the current existing condition. That'll suffice. And then you'll see there's two. The abutter has a similar setback, and we will have that will be combined with the 3rd floor. So the 4th floor will be owner occupant with myself and my son, and have an interior staircase. The building unit will be accessed through the 3rd floor with an interior staircase to the penthouse.
So this is a 3-family dwelling?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and is this under construction, or is this a rendering that I'm seeing?
This is currently under construction. This property has a long history. We took it over, and we're moving through the construction.
Okay, so in fact, you're coming before us to add the penthouse floor, even though it's already there or it's already being constructed?
The penthouse is not being constructed. We don't have permission for that. All we have permission is to work on the interior at this time.
Okay. Mr. Ehrlich, how are the plans?
Well, I have two problems. First of all, there are no elevations, so it's a little bit hard to tell on the quote-unquote garden level plan, which is a euphemism for basement, what the relation is to grade, because in the rendering, it looks like there's the window there does not have the adequate floor to sill height. I don't know if it slopes back. I can't tell because there's no elevation drawings. And the second thing is that Colette, can you bring up the slide with the flood zone analysis? Yeah, it looks like if that red dot is the location of the house, it is in the flood zone. So I don't understand how someone can conclude that it's not, when it at least based on that map that's supplied by the applicant, it pretty clearly is. And if that's the case, I don't think there should be any living space in the basement, and I believe that the BPDA agrees with that. We could ask Mr. Hampton for his views.
Yes, so let's focus for now, Mr. Ehrlich, because I think we can address that. How about the penthouse? Are you comfortable with the penthouse or any issues with the penthouse?
The penthouse is similar to other structures on the street.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Lina Tramelli with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on the record in support. During the community process, the applicant addressed most of the concerns of the abutters, and this proposal received support from Maverick Central Neighborhood Association. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Ricardo Patron from the Office of City Councilor Lydia Edwards. The council would like to leave this proposal at the discretion of the board. If it is approved, we would ask that the proponent continue to work with the abutters on their concerns.
Thank you. Ms. Ambassador, any other raised hands?
Madam Chair, Secretary here. We have no letters of support, 2 letters of opposition.
I'm sorry, how many of support?
0 letters of support, 2 letters of opposition.
Thank you. Ms. Ambassador, anybody out there?
No raised hands, Madam Chair.
Okay, so it sounds like the issues we have before us is essentially the extension into the basement. We do and this is for the benefit of the applicant, we do take projects apart and approve portions of it. We have never in our history ever approved residency of occupancy in the basement in flood zone areas. And I will also refer the board to the BPDA recommendations. Mr. Hampton, would you like to speak to that?
No, I mean, it's very specific. We're concerned, as you are, Madam Chair, about any basement living space where it is going to be above or below the base flood elevation. I do not know if this is technically in a FEMA flood zone. I don't think it is, but it is absolutely in the base flood elevation for climate resiliency. So our recommendation for no living space in the basement stands.
Okay, thank you. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve BPDA design review and no living space in the basement.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set, Mr. Applicant.
Thank you very much. Have a good day, everyone.
You too.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 996-141, 223 Everett Street. This is a rear addition to an existing 3-family. Violations Article 27, with new side and roof decks. The violations Article 27T, this is in the East Boston High Pod. Article 53, Section 9, excessive FAR. And Article 53, insufficient usable open space. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. This is Tim Johnson, architect, 599 East Broadway, Boston. And I am joined by the project attorney, Jim Canavan. If Madam Ambassador could unmute him. Thank you. Madam Chair, members of the board, our client is proposing I'd first like to say this project is located in a 3-family, 2,000 sub-district, East Boston. Our client is proposing page 2, thank you. Our client is proposing a 13-foot deep rear addition to a 3-unit triple decker located on the corner of Everett Street and Ipswich Place, which is a 10-foot wide shared driveway. Our client will occupy the top unit upon retirement. On-grade parking for this project via Ipswich Place was board approved in November of 2018 and occupies much of the required open space. The 3-story rear addition, page 4, please, or page 3, the next page. That's the board approved rear parking. Page 4, please. The 3-story rear addition does not encroach on required setbacks and height ceiling and adds valuable living area to each unit, especially as we live and work at our homes today.
So what is, Mr. Johnson, what is, how many square feet is it adding to each dwelling unit?
If you go down to page 2, back to page 2, the addition is shown in yellow, and it's 228 square feet, Madam Chair.
So it's 228 square feet per dwelling unit. So what I'd like to understand is it looks like there's a difference because it is a narrow passageway in what was approved from this board for that parking and the way it's set up now. It looked like it was approved as angled parking to allow for ease of access, and now it looks like it's not angled parking anymore. To accommodate, I suspect, the additional 228 square feet plus the patio that is proposed for Unit 1.
Well, there was a utility pole located in the 10-foot wide passageway. If you go back to the next slide, page 3.
So I see that it's to be relocated, okay?
Yes, Madam Chair, and it was relocated. We have the change order, so we're able to straighten out the parking.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Olick?
Well, the same problem that we keep encountering, which is that there's an intention to put living space in the basement, and most of the basement is below grade. And so they try to solve it with window wells for the egress doors and window wells for the windows. But this is, this is not satisfactory.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Lina Tramelli with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on the record in support for this proposal. The Office of Neighborhood Services held an abutters meetings on November 14, 2019, where the applicant addressed most of the concerns expressed by the abutters. During the community process, we heard some concerns regarding property line, ownership, and use of rear yard for parking that was previously approved by the city, and consider these are not related to zoning concerns. Thank you.
Ricardo, are you on?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Ricardo Patron from the Office of City Councilor Lydia Edwards. The council would like to leave this proposal at the discretion of the board.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, Secretary here, we have no letters of support and 5 letters of opposition, and the opposition is 1 letter from the Jeffreys Point Association.
Oh, thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Ambassador.
I have 2 raised hands.
Yes, please put your name and address on the record.
William, you're unmuted.
Oh, sorry about that. Good morning. My name is William Heaney. I'm an attorney in Beverly, Massachusetts. My address is 86 Dodge Street. I'm representing the direct abutters, Darlene Jardina and Marie Pepe Long. Their families have owned the neighboring property for at least 3 generations. In fact, I believe their mother.
What is the address of the abutting property?
221 Everett.
221 Everett, and what is the opposition based on?
The opposition is based on, I'm not going to repeat the number of neighborly concerns. You've already pointed out the parking. There are some sightline impingements that come with this new addition, but I'm here more as a land court practitioner, and my objection is more based on your section 7.3 of your Boston Code, which requires certain requirements to be met in order to issue a variance.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. The other raised hand, please. May I hear from them?
Caller, you're unmuted. Yeah, I think the person actually just hung up, so.
Okay.
Madam Chair, what was the position of the mayor's office? I wasn't quite clear.
They were in support.
Okay.
And the city councilor left it to the discretion of the board.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like there's also 5 letters in opposition that we've been hearing from. And I know that you have concerns about the basement living space. And I think we all have concerns about basement living extension into the basement.
If I may comment on that, Madam Chair, this is Tim Johnson.
Yes, make a quick comment.
Madam Chair, we are more than happy to delete any living space in the basement. We understand your concern. This is in Zone X, which has a minimal flood hazard, but
We're actually not concerned about Zone X. We are, but in this case, we are very concerned, as in all parts of the city, is this creeping into basement occupancy. That is something that many of us have worked a long time to really make sure that does not happen anymore. So may I have a motion, please? So it sounds, so anyway, may I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve, but with a proviso there be no living space in the basement.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, Ed DeVoe, I'd like to go on record in opposition.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. So there was opposition. Thank you.
Was there a design review on that, Mr. Ehrlich?
Yeah, I'm sorry, yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so just to clarify, I don't know if Mr. Johnson is still on. This is approval. It is approval with design review and specifically no living space in the basement.
Understood. Going forward, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, Secretary here. I don't know how you want to handle the next 4 cases. They are 2 different proponents, but they are bundled together with the same counsel. And they are in regards to executive suites. So would you like me to call them each one into the case, or do you want to do all 4?
Yes. Please call them individually. I know that they are 2 different applicants, same attorney, but the record on each will stand separately.
Very good, Madam Chair. For the record, calling BOA 111-0403, 1-4 Mechanic Court. This is a change of occupancy from 6 apartments restaurant to 2 executive suites and restaurant. No work to be done. The violation Article 54, Section 12, executive use of executive suites is conditional. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. William Ferrullo, attorney for the project with McDermott, Quilty, and Miller at 28 State Street. Madam Chair, 2 entities own the 4 buildings, but the 2 entities are solely owned by Frank DiPasquale and are all operated as Rico Suites. So I'm not sure.
Okay, so you're fine then if we read all 4 of them into the record. I just want to make sure that the record is clear. Okay, so Mr. Ferrullo, as attorney for Mr. DiPasquale, you're okay if we read them all into the record together?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so let's go for it, because that means that all votes, the votes will cover all of them. Just a reminder that this is a 6-member board. You need 5 members in support for this to carry, okay?
Very well, Madam Chair. I'm going to call the next three cases as companion cases to 1 to 4 Mechanic Court. Calling BOA 1110391, 239 to 243 Hanover Street, BOA 1110414, 11 Board Alley, and case BOA 1110423, 2 Board Alley. Name and address for the record.
Again, it's Attorney William Ferrullo, Law Office of McDermott, Quilty, and Miller at 28 State Street for all 4 applications.
So, Counselor, so these are all conditional uses. Can you tell us altogether how many suites are we talking about?
Yes, there have been 24 executive suites in these buildings since 2013. And to describe it, one property, as you see from the address, is a Hanover Street property in the north end. The other 3 properties are referred to as rear buildings, meaning they're buildings behind Hanover Street properties that face onto the open cut of the ramp Route 93.
Okay, so tell us about the size of the units and also how you monitor them and the length of stay that you're looking at.
Yes. The size of the units vary somewhat. They average in the vicinity of 300 plus square feet. The units were renovated, as mentioned, during 2013 and 2014. The plans that indicated, and we submitted, I hope you have in your file, some photographs of the kitchenettes to show you how they lay out as executive suites as opposed to apartments. The reason this is before you is that the contractor who filed this, at the time the executive suites were an allowed use, he didn't draw the distinction between apartments and executive suites, and it never got noticed in the file, although the plans examiner, the ISD building examiner, et cetera, are all familiar with the fact that they were in fact being renovated as executive suites. It was back in December of 2019 when the city was contemplating changes to the code that we discovered this mistake by the contractor, and we resubmitted the plans and the applications again as a long form, which wasn't done the first time, and that was done prior to the enactment of the executive suite change to conditional use, which was January 8th of 2020. All of these are sprinklered, all of these are alarmed. As mentioned, it has operated successfully for 7 years.
So, Councilor, please tell us what the anticipated length of stay is and what the history is of length of stay.
That's how I can answer it in terms of the history. These have never been listed with Airbnb. These are listed on site for a variety of listings. The average stay has been just shy of 6 days. It's 5.8, I think, average days listing. We accommodate individuals who go to Mass General Hospital for surgery or lengthy stays. We accommodate executives who are relocating to the area while they look for units to stay in or are temporarily employed. We accommodate visitors to the city. It's very common in the neighborhood to have family coming in town to visit folks in the city or the north and stay there during the vacation period.
Okay, hold on, Councilor. How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
Well, there's no work being proposed, but this is similar to our first case in the call of the chair, 125 Addison Street.
Okay, any questions from the board?
Madam Chair, Secretary here. I did not call these the purpose and the violations into the record. Would you like me to do that because they are?
Yes, please. Please, go ahead.
Just like myself here, so. I already did the first one for mechanics, so I'm gonna go to Hanover and then Board Alley. So this was for 239, 243 Hanover. There was a change of occupancy from a restaurant and 7 apartments to a restaurant with 7 executive suites. The existing condition is no work to be done. The violation was Article 54, Section 12. Executive suite is a conditional use in the Hanover CC subdistrict. This is for 11 board. This is a change of occupancy from 3 apartments, 1 retail store to 3 executive suites, 1 retail store, no work to be done. Article 54, Section 12, executive suites are conditional. And for 2 board, this is a change of occupancy from existing condition of 8 apartments and commercial space to a basement, bakery to executive suites and bakery, no work to be done. The violation is Article 54, Section 12, executive suites condition. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So let's see, is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, the Secretary here, we have no letters of support and 1 letter of opposition on each one, and the opposition is from the North End Waterfront Residents Association saying that they haven't met.
I have 1 raised hand, Madam Chair. I actually have 3, sorry.
Madam Chair, we submitted to your office.
Counselor, hold on. Is anybody here from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services and from the City Councilor's Office to speak on these proposals?
Yes, Madam Chair and members of the board, this is John Romano from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Like the councilor said, this business has operated for 7 years with a good business owner. And while executive seats conflict with the mayor's housing policy and puts us in a position of opposition, we would defer to the board's decision on this project.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Michael Vanetti from Boston City Councilor Lydia Edwards' office. The council would like to seek a deferral for this project. It is the understanding of the councilor that the petitioner met his community outreach requirements. However, the councilor would like to see the petitioner go before the neighborhood associations, as both the neighborhood and regulations around short-term rentals and executive suites have changed significantly.
Okay, thank you. Karen, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Karen Foley, City Councilor Anissa Asabi George's office, and we would like to echo the sentiments of Michael from Councilor Lydia Edwards' office and ask for a deferral. Thank you very much.
Any other raised hands?
Yes, Madam Chair. 5 raised hands. Lydia?
Hello, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Lydia Lowe. I'm the Executive Director of the Chinatown Community Land Trust. And while this proposal is not in our neighborhood, we are a neighborhood that has been devastated by the short-term rental industry. And therefore, we're very concerned about the trend of proposals to convert residential properties to executive suite use, because when we are in the midst of one of the worst housing crises in history, on top of that, the pandemic, which has made the situation even more serious. With this particular proposal, our concern...
Hold on, Lydia. I'm going to, we will note you in opposition. We will note you also with the comprehensive view about these rentals. I would like to hear, please put your hand down, and I'd like to hear from other North End residents, please. Thank you.
John, you're unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please put your name and address on the record and tell us if
I am not a North.
Go ahead.
I am not a North End resident. I am a downtown resident in the Fenway.
Put your name and address on the record, please, and tell us briefly, because we do want to hear from abutters.
John Buxton, 185 Mass Ave. I'm opposed to this because it would set a terrible precedent for all of our downtown neighborhood residences. We are not interested in having short-term rentals on residential blocks. These would turn out to be basically unregulated hotels. The proponent said that...
Hold on. Thank you. Can you
Madam
please
Chair,
please lower your hand? Miss Ambassador, can you please mute both, let's look for somebody else, Mr. Lyons?
So I have Councilor Flaherty on the phone and Patrick Lyons from Aaron Michaelwitz's office.
Okay, let's hear from both of them, please.
Councilor Flaherty?
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. This is City Councilor at Large Michael Flaherty here to speak in support of the proponent. The proponent, as you know, is seeking relief from the board for a conditional use permit to continue operating executive suites and bring them into compliance with zoning code. No work is being done, as referenced by member Mark Ehrlich, at any of these locations. They've been in operation now for several years. The operator has been responsible to the community. He's been a good neighbor, oftentimes providing residents who have experienced hardships, those that have been burnt out due to fires, or residents that have had loved ones pass away and or had visiting relatives coming from out of country stay at these executive suites free of charge. The proponent's connection with the neighborhood was highlighted at a well-attended abutters meeting held by Office of Neighborhood Services, and has, I believe, over 50 people in offering letters of support at that meeting. So also want to note that as the former chair of government operations, when we passed the Airbnb ordinance, I can speak firsthand to the goals of our short-term rental ordinance. The goals of the ordinance were to create regulations and a framework for a rapidly growing short-term rental industry in order to protect and preserve our housing stock for our residents in the midst of an affordable housing crisis. Our ordinance and zoning code continue to allow for executive suites as a conditional use, and I can attest firsthand that these executive suites, this was not the type that was meant to be ensnared by this process. And I would like to stress that any further delay or deferral would be a continued hardship for the proponents. And
thank you. Thank you, Councilor.
A lot different than the ones that have already spoke. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Can we hear from Councilor Michaelwitz's offices, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. Thank you, members of the board. Patrick Lyons on behalf of State Representative Aaron Michaelwitz. We wanted to go on the record of support for the proponent. This proponent's been in business since 2013, pre-short-term rental surge, which spurred, action at the state legislature and the city to regulate the industry. And, they've been exemplary business owners for, the past 7 years. And, they're extremely local. Not only does the proponent live in Boston, but he lives in the North End. He's neighboring to the suites. Especially during, this pandemic, the hospitality industry has kind of taken the brunt of everything. And kind of we want to see, we don't want to hinder, the industry from going back up. We want to do everything we can to build them up.
Thank you. So I'm going to just close comments right here.
Madam Chair?
Okay, Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, this is Joe McGackman with City Council, Frank Baker's office. Although this isn't the councilor's district, he feels strongly and wanted to echo the sentiments of the previous councilor, and we'd like to go on record in support of this lifetime good neighbor of Boston.
Thank you. So
Madam Chairwoman, before the comments close, we submitted to your office 50 letters of support.
Thank you, Councilor. We have heard people in support, people in opposition. And we do recognize that this was done without adequate permits at the time. But we also do have some information from the City of Boston's legal counsel. So may I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve of this, letting this existing business continue in operation.
Is there a second? Motion does not carry. May I have another motion, please?
Yeah, I appreciate, the fact that this has been in existence and that there's a lot of support from community and political leaders, but I don't see how we can be consistent as a board in terms of our policy unless we deny applications for executive suites as being in violation of the short-term rental ordinance. So I'm going to make a motion to deny.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion. Secretary.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I oppose.
Okay, this is Joe opposing. Motion carries. It's been denied.
Going to the next case. BOA 109-2076, 847 to 847C East 5th Street. This is a combined parcel 429 of 3,125 square feet with parcel 430 of 3,125 square feet to a new lot to have 6,250 square feet. Demolish the existing two-family, erect 4 townhouses with 7 parking spaces. The violations, Article 29, Section 4, this is in the Greenbelt Protection Overlay District. Article 68, Section 29, the roof structure restrictions. Article 68, Section 8.3, dimensional regulations of the main entrance. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is George Moranci. I'm an attorney with the business address of 350 West Broadway in South Boston. Joining me today on the teleconference are my clients, owners of the property, James and Danielle McClure, and the project architect, Will Chalifant from Calsa Design. Madam Chair, members, this is an application to demolish an existing two-family dwelling on this lot, which as combined would comprise 6,250 square feet. The zoning district is MFR, multifamily residential, within South Boston's Article 68 zoning. Madam Chair, in terms of a brief description of the project, of the proposed building, again, this would be a 4-unit building. Unit 1 would be 1,854 square feet. That would be a 3-bedroom. Unit 2 would be 1,786 square feet, a 3-bedroom unit. Unit 3 would be 1,641 square feet, a 3-bedroom unit. And Unit 4, which would be my client's unit, 2,913 square feet, that would be a 4-bedroom unit. With respect to the zoning, there are 3 citations on the zoning refusal letter. One of those is the fact that this project would require GPOD approval, Greenbelt Protection Overlay District, from the board.
Councillor, can you please go to the next 2, because we know GPOD requires extra review by the Parks Department. So can you speak about the main entrance and the roof structure, please?
Certainly. So the other 2 cited violations are building height under Article 68 and also location of main entrances. So the existing building, in terms of building height, the slide that I think best would depict this for the board would be sheet A-303. If we scroll down, which is towards the end, and it will show the existing building, which has a gabled roof. This is a pitch roof facing the street. This section of Article 68 was the result of the expiration of the iPod in the amendment of Article 68. And the new provision, all of that slide there is perfect. If we can go to, that's it exactly. The amendment to Article 68 provides that although the maximum building height in Article 68 in an MFR district is 40 feet, for any building existing as of the date of the amendment of Article 68, which was October 15th of 2019, in the case of a total or partial demolition, that existing building height becomes the maximum building height for the lot. As the board can see from this view, the existing building was 2.5-story structure with a pitched roof. The new building would be a 3-story structure with the mansard roof. The new building would be approximately 32 feet in height. It would actually be a couple of inches lower than the top of the peak of the existing building. However, a building with the gable roof is measured in terms of building height to the median of the gable. So as board members can see on that slide, where the arrow is pointing down on the existing building height, essentially the midpoint of the gabled roof, that is the building height maximum for zoning. The new building is above that, but it's not above the maximum height of the structure. The other violation...
Yes, please go on the other violation.
The other violation is the location of the entrance doors. These are 4 townhouse-style units. Unit 1 would have a front or entrance, a main entrance to the unit facing East 5th Street. The code provides that each dwelling unit must have an entry door facing the front of the street. That is the only other violation. Of the 4 units, 2 of the main entries face East 5th Street, and 2 of them face the left side lot line. Those are the violations. Everything else, there are 6 off-street parking spaces required, 7 are provided. All the setbacks are in compliance with zoning.
Thank you. How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
They're adequate. A couple of questions for the proponent. There are hatches shown for the roof, but no roof decks. Is that correct?
Correct. No roof decks. The hatches would be for access for maintenance. I think that may still be an outstanding issue. With the butters, it's not a major issue for my clients. They would like to have them for, as I said, for access for maintenance.
Okay. And the second thing, and this is a minor thing, on the site plan, the proposed curb cut, the driveway is fine. The proposed curb cut is 14 feet, which in an urban area where there's very little street parking, it's, I'm curious as to why not just use the conventional 10 or 12 foot driveway and create some more street parking.
It's actually an existing curb cut, Mr. Ehrlich. It's not proposed, but frankly, it could probably be reduced by 2 feet.
Okay, it says proposed on the drawing I'm looking at.
Right, there is an existing curb cut if anyone is looking at Google Street View. I mean, perhaps it is just because maybe it's a relocation, but it's there is an existing curb cut providing access, to the building now.
Okay.
And again, so that, it is definitely not proposed.
Okay, because
Any other questions from the board?
well, let me just continue on this for a second. Just on the plot plan, it says proposed curb opening. So was the idea to expand it?
I don't actually know, but I can say that the city would not allow an existing cut to be expanded to 14 feet. As the board knows, the standard width is 10 feet or 12 feet to the flares.
Right.
And I expect that would be the requirement here if this were to be approved.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, we're here. The mayor's office is here to speak in opposition.
Okay, anybody here to speak in support?
Madam Chair, Secretary here. We have 5 letters of support, 13 letters of opposition.
Okay. Can I hear the opposition, please?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Haley Dillon, Mayor's Office Neighborhood Services, would like to go on record in opposition due to the amount of opposition. We have 17 letters of opposition. I know that the board doesn't have all of them because some of them were sent this morning, and 5 letters of support. We had one meeting in August and a second abutters meeting in September, and the clients also, or the proponents also met with the abutters to try to work out the issues. So they did do extensive community outreach, but there was no final conclusion. So we'd like to stay in record and support. Thank you.
So Haley, what was the opposition based on?
They were all the same. I can read you one of the letters if you'd like.
No, just summarize for us.
Just the density, something about landmarks. They didn't file the proper Article 83 with landmarks. It's the overall density of the project.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else to speak in opposition?
Madam of the Chair, members of the board, Ana Calderon from Councillor Flink's office. The councillor would like to go on record in opposition due to feedback from the abutters, neighbors, and the City Point Neighborhood Association. They have all expressed concerns that the Boston Landmarks Commission indicated last week that the Article 85 process has not been completed. Moreover, they have highlighted concerns about the height of the development, which will reportedly restrict light, the side decks, and privacy with how far back the proposed development will go, and the GPAD violation. In short, neighbors relate they have not addressed feedback from the meetings regarding scaling back the proposal, reducing roof hatches, moving the building forward, and removing the side decks. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Karen Foley, Councilor Asabi George's office. Would like to echo the sentiments of the mayor's office and Councilor Flynn's office and oppose this project. Thank you.
Anybody else to speak on this?
I have some raised hands, Madam Chair. Do you want me to go forward?
Yes, please. It looks like Martin Rader and user number 27 has been on previous calls, so.
Brian, you're unmuted.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Just want to go on record. I'm sorry, my name is Brian Schultz. I live at 851 East 5th Street, which is the property directly to the left of 847. Just want to go on record in opposition for the same reasons already stated from Councilor Flynn in the mayor's office.
Caller, you're unmuted.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan, on behalf of City Council Lodge, Michael Flaherty. Echoing sentiments of Councilor Flynn's office, as well as the Article 68 violations, Councilor to go on record in opposition.
One more call, one more person, and then we'll close comment.
Monica?
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Thank you for hearing from me. My name is Monica Santos. I live at 845 East 5th Street, which is the building directly to the right of this proposed development. I remain strongly opposed, as well as all the abutters who have attended both community meetings, for all of the reasons reflected to date. And I would just like to respectfully also request that the board take notice of any addresses from any letters of support to confirm that they actually are coming from true direct abutters to this property and not from potential friends and acquaintances of the proposed business owners. And I would just like to also echo that this has not followed Article 85 from the Boston Landmarks Commission. This development would require demolishing a 120-year-old Queen Anne Victorian, which is obviously going to impact the charm and the character of the City Point neighborhood of South Boston, which has been decimated by development recently. And I would just like to highlight one other concern regarding parking, if I may. So while the plans may show that there are 7 parking spots, if you look at how they are currently allocated, 3 of those spots are allocated towards Unit 4, which would be the owner's building. One spot is allocated as a flex space, which therefore just leaves 3 parking spots for the other additional 3 townhomes, which have a minimum of 9 bedrooms and are going to be rentals. And I also would just like to quickly highlight that even though they are being proposed as 3 and 4 bedroom units, the majority of the townhomes also have either offices, dens, or studies, which the abutters are very concerned, especially for the rental properties that will eventually be used as bedrooms as well, also adding to the density and the overall parking concerns and the overall building height and the
Monica, thank you very much. We still need to hear, we still need to process this. So thank you. So I'm just going to close comments right there. We've heard people speak in support and opposition. I just want to remind the board members that the use and the parking and other items are not on the table. What is before us is the location of the main entrance and the roof structure restrictions. Those are the 2 things in addition to the Greenbelt Protection Overlay District. Councilor Morency, can you please explain to us the issue about demolition delay?
Certainly. Just 3 quick points, Madam Chair. My clients are engaged in Article 85. They're within the demolition delay period and are providing alternatives to demolition to the Landmarks Commission. Number 2, the 2 zoning issues, which I did hear objections to the project based on, I heard height and density. This building is 32 feet high. With the exception of the Lennon Court condominiums at the corner of Farragut Road, there are only 2 buildings on this entire block, either side of the street, that are not taller than this proposed building, 855 and 838 East 5th Street. At 32 feet, it is under the otherwise prevailing 40 feet maximum height in South Boston. In terms of density, the FAR here is 1.33. As the board knows, the maximum density under Article 68 is 2.0. Madam Chair, I would just ask beg the board's indulgence just to hear one brief comment and rebuttal from one of my clients, Danielle McClure. If she could be unmuted.
I'm not. I rely on you to represent your clients. I'd like to hear from BPDA, please. Jeff, are you on?
Yes, I'm sorry about that, Madam Chair. Jeff Hampton, Boston Planning and Development Agency. I believe on this particular case, we recommended approval with proviso that the curb cut not be widened, as Mr. Ehrlich had brought up on the plot plan. We saw the same thing, and that we do extensive design review, echoing the councilor's points to the design of the building. Really, we took essentially that provision in the north end, as the board is well aware, that if you knock down any projects, the allowable building heights subsequently to any partial or total demolition is what was there. So that is now in effect. This is actually the first case, I think, that has come before the board where you have a building that is lower than the as of right height because of demolition. And the issue with the front doors not facing the street is something that has been in the neighborhood zoning articles, Madam Chair, as you know, ever since we started rezoning the neighborhoods. But on the record, recommended approval with design review.
Thank you. So given that information, may I have a motion, please?
I'm going to make a motion to deny without prejudice.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 102-8692, 57 L Street. This is to extend the existing southern stair up to the roof of the head house, build a connection walkway to the roof of the head house, and build 4 roof decks off the walkway. The violations, Article 68, Section 29. The roof structure restrictions, Article 68, Section 8. The floor to area ratio is excessive, and Article 68, Section 8. The building height is excessive in feet. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Doug Stefanov, architect for the proposal. Address of 423 West Broadway. Madam Chair, members of the board, I come before you to seek relief to build 4 private roof decks for the 4 condominium owners of the top floor of 57L Street. 57L is a 13-unit new constructed building. And
So Mr. Stefanov, so if this is a newly constructed building, was this before this board? Was this building before the board for relief for construction?
Yes, ma'am.
And were head houses included? Were roof decks included in that proposal?
There were no roof decks at the time of the original zoning.
And when was this approved by the board?
Approximately 3 years ago.
So this was approved 3 years ago, and now you're back to seek some more relief for these roof decks via a head house.
Yes, ma'am.
Was the head house approved before?
We do have access to the roof. We have an existing head house now. Yes.
Was the head house approved as part of the project? Or was that constructed through its process? Because we've seen that happen a couple of times.
No, we have one existing head house that was approved from the original proposal.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
Well, the drawings are adequate. This is a multi-unit, fairly large building, so head houses in this situation are more appropriate than in 3 or 4 family.
No, what concerns me is these incremental.
Yes, I agree.
The incremental stabs at the Board of Appeal for for things like this, whereas it would have made sense for us to look at it comprehensively the first time around.
You're exactly right.
You know, so let's hear, is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Hi, Madam Chair, members of the board, Haley Dillon, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We'd like to go on record in support. I had the same exact questions because we had two abutters meetings. The first abutters meeting, the abutters opposed because they said no roof decks were part of the process. But I searched everywhere. I searched the ZBA, the civic associations, my predecessors' files. There was nothing that said that they weren't going to put roof decks. So we'd like to go on record in support because there's no evidence of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anna?
Yes, Madam of the Chair, members of the board would like to go on record in support due to positive community process and support letters we have received from abutters and neighbors who have relayed that the decks are in line with surrounding properties. The development team has also worked with the neighbors and relayed that the decks are exclusive to the units and will not be used for short-term rentals. Thank you.
Madam Chair, Secretary here, we have 17 letters of support, no letters of opposition.
Hi, Madam Chair. I know you see probably hands raised, but no one has taken their hands down from previous cases. So I'm going to just ask caller 19 because I don't believe that caller had his hand raised before, or she had her hand raised before. Caller, you're unmuted. Caller, you're unmuted. No further hands raised, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Given that information, may I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve.
And Mr. Stefanoff, please look at this as an exception, that we are not really in the mode of incremental approvals such as this. Is there a second?
Understood, Madam Chair.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you all very much.
Madam Ambassador, is 502 East 8th Street on? This is the one we talked about earlier that we have noticed that they're withdrawing, but we don't have anything for the record.
Mr. Clerk, I do not see Mr. Wallace on.
Is Haley the neighborhood office coordinator for?
Yes.
Haley, are they withdrawing this?
They didn't reach out to me. We had an abutters meeting. Nobody showed up. And it was just me, Councilor Flynn, and Flaherty on the call.
Okay.
So they haven't reached out to me since.
Okay,
Madam Chair, I can hold on to it to the last two cases, and we'll do it at the end.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Calling the next case, calling BOA 105-3178, 289 Dorchester Street. This is to raise the existing single-story building and construct a new four-story, four-unit residential building. Violation Article 13, Section 13-1, excessive FAR. Article 13, Section 13-1, the number of allowed stories has been exceeded. Article 13, Section 13-1, the maximum allowed height has been exceeded. Article 13, Section 4, insufficient lot size. Article 13, Section 4, insufficient additional lot area per unit. Article 13, Section 4, insufficient lot width. Article 13, Section 4, insufficient open space. Article 13, Section 4, insufficient rear yard setback. Article 13, Section 4, front yard modal. Article 13, Section 4, insufficient side yard. And Article 23, Section 1, insufficient parking. Name and address for the record, please.
Is Mr. Christopher on, or somebody representing this project on?
Hello?
Who's, please put your name and address on the record.
Morning, ma'am. Well, this is James Christopher of RCA LLC with the project architects with the business address 415 Neponset Ave. The proposal before you today is for 289 Dorchester Street in South Boston. It's the existing Telegraph Hill Bar and Restaurant. The bar has been closed. The proposal is to construct a 4-story, 4-unit residential building. The outline is Article 68. This is falls into the light industrial manufacturing. That's why the zoning variances requests seem to be so high. The density and massing of the building is very consistent with the other buildings and residential buildings in the area. But we are seeking to construct a 4-story residential building with mechanical and storage at grade. So you enter, the first floor unit would be a 2-bed, 603 square foot residential unit. And then in the basement plan would be all storage and mechanical, no habitable space in the basement. The second, third, and fourth floor plans are pretty similar. It's a repeating floor plan with rear decks. Each unit is, units 2 and 3 are 631 square foot, 2-bed, 1-bath residential units. And then unit 4 picks up a little bit of additional square footage at 813 square feet with, again, the rear deck. There is no proposal for a roof deck or hatch or head house. We held an abutters meeting and met with the ACA. The project there was some support and some opposition. The owner was able to get 12 letters of support from direct abutters, which I've submitted to the board and to the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services.
So these are a lot of, quite a few violations. Can you tell me how this is tell us about the context. How does it work context-wise?
So primarily, this area, Madam Chair, is all residential. Directly across Old Colony Ave is scheduled for a very large-scale Washington Village development, which will be at 6 stories. Directly behind us on Mitchell Street, at 24, 28, and 34 Mitchell Street, those are all existing 4-story buildings. And then the newly constructed building on Old Colony, directly behind Mitchell Street, is a 5-story residential building, multi-unit, as well as the affordable housing across the street. The redevelopment of that will be at 4-story. So we feel that the height and density in the massing is very consistent with what's going on in the neighborhood. It actually fills in the missing tooth from an urban design standpoint. It's a 1-story building in the middle of multi-story buildings.
Okay, how are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal? Is anybody here to speak in opposition?
Hi, Madam Chair, members of the board, Haley Dillon, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I'd like to go on record in opposition. There was a similar project at the board, I think 3 weeks ago, where the Andrew Square Civic Association asked them to come down a floor, and they did, and they had nothing but support. They asked these guys to come down a floor, and they didn't, so everybody's still in opposition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have 3 raised hands.
Thanks. Let's hear from them.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Karen Foley, Councilor Wasabi George's office. We'd like to go on record in opposition. We have received letters of opposition from Andrew Square Civic Associations and multiple abutters. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the I would like to go on record in opposition due to feedback from neighbors and a joint opposition letter indicating unanimous opposition from both the Andrew Square Neighborhood Association and the City Side Neighborhood Association. They expressed concern regarding negative impacts due to the lack of any parking and that a 4-story, 4-unit project does not fit with the character of the community. The civic groups relayed a desire for the proponent to work with the community on coming to a fair and reasonable compromise on the number of stories and units for the project. Thank you.
Madam Chair, Secretary here. We have no letters of support, 4 letters of opposition, and to the Mayor's, Haley Dillon, they expressed a concern from a 4-story to a 3-story that would have been fine.
May I hear from the BPDA?
Yes, Madam Chairman, members of the board, Jeff Hampton at the BPDA. All the elected officials stated exactly what we have in our recommendation to denial without prejudice. If you were to look at the, Telegraph Hill bar dead on, it's 3 stories on either side. So we'd ask them to take off the 4th story too, but our vote right now is denial without prejudice.
Thank you. Mr. Christopher, any comments?
We certainly understand the desire for a reduction in the height, but if you look at the context of the pending development, the development's directly behind it, and directly across the street, the height is appropriate. It bridges the gap between the 6 stories of a very large-scale development below, and the building directly behind it is at Old Colony, which is a new development, is 5 stories, and the 3 direct buildings behind it at 24, 28, and 34 Mitchell Street are 4 stories. We believe that and the building, 2 buildings to the right, which is the newly constructed building, is a 4-story. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Given that information, may I have a motion, please?
Motion to deny without prejudice.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 953-865-561 Dudley Street. This is a change of occupancy to include a cannabis dispensary. The violations, Article 50, Section 28. Cannabis establishment is forbidden use in an MFR-LS subdistrict. Article 50, Section 29, the lot area is insufficient. Article 50, Section 29, the lot frontage is insufficient. Article 50, Section 29, the floor area ratio is excessive. Article 50, Section 29, the front yard is insufficient. Article 50, Section 29, the side yard is insufficient. And Article 50, Section 43, off-street parking on an adjacent lot. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. This is Mike Ross, attorney with the law firm of Prince Bell on behalf of the applicants, Mass Citizens for Social Equity.
So, Councillor, before you go ahead, just a reminder that this is a 6-member board. You need 5 members in support for this project to carry. Additionally, if you do decide to go ahead, I'd like to tell everybody who's on the line that we'd like to hear testimony in the following order. Mayor's office, elected officials or representative of elected officials, and then we'd like to hear from 3 or 4 abutters. I would also like you to address, because in Mr. Fortune's reading, did you say that there was parking on an adjacent lot? You've been through this before, so you know what we need to hear.
Yes, Madam Chair, I do, and thank you. And hopefully this one will be an easier one in that there was a tremendous amount of support in the community for that. We'll get to that when you get to that. In terms of the reason why, so the main reason why we're here, obviously, is the use matter, seeking to put cannabis within a MFR LS subdistrict. The reason why the additional dimensional variances and 1 conditional were being referenced really has to do with the subdivision of the property. The property was deliberately subdivided for 2 main reasons. One, it will achieve the distance of half a mile from the nearest existing marijuana establishment. And you actually can see it on that site plan right there. The dashed line will show you where the half-mile line is. So we went ahead and subdivided this lot, which has this generous front parking area, and then the building at the rear of the lot.
I'm sorry, the existing one is the one on Blue Hill Ave by Grove Hall?
Oh, no, the existing one we're referring to, it's 50 Clapp Street in Dorchester.
Oh, it's the Clapp Street one. Okay, cool. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so what we did here, that was one of the reasons why we subdivided it. And the other reason is that the uncle who ran this bodega for many, many years is now retiring, and he is going to rent out the parking spaces to the operator. It's a way that he can continue to earn some form of income that's not touching any of the cannabis uses. He's going to retire in the Dominican Republic, and the whole issue around cannabis is treated differently throughout the world. So this allows him to enjoy some of the upside of this this, essentially this family effort. And the only reason why they're able to take this property was because it's in the family and it's this existing bodega that operated for many years in this community. So that's why.
So, Counselor, I'd like to just say to you right up front that, you know, the relief goes with the property and not with the owner. So if you could explain all the issues and how parking would work, you know, without, you know, just, you know, on the chance that the lot B, as laid out here, gets sold or something else happens.
Sure, and you know, to that point, Madam Chair, we're happy to condition this based on a proviso that says it's only for this particular use and operation, because that's all it will ever be for. Let me run through the quick variances if I could. So as a result of the subdivision, it throws the project into a few dimensional variances. One has to do with the lot being an insufficient size. So now that the new lot, that rear lot that the building is on, is now 3,725 square feet in an area where 4,000 is the lot size. The frontage, of course, is no longer, so you get the frontage matter because it's technically behind that front parcel. FAR.
And you know how fond we are of flag lots.
I'm sorry, pardon me, Madam Chair?
You know how fond we are of flag lots or lots without really direct access to the street.
Yeah, it's relying on an easement that's not an easement. It's relying on the lease that allows access through the front lot between the parties. In this case, you wouldn't need to record an easement because the lease would allow for that. And then of course you have side yard insufficient. Side yard insufficient was already triggered by the structure on the second floor of this building. There was an addition.
So let's go directly to the cannabis establishment. Tell us how it's proposed to work, the hours of operation. Give us the details.
Sure. So the next slide will show you the floor plan. We did supplement the record with additional plans, but that will do. That will absolutely do. The hours of operations are between 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Sunday, and that's been codified in the host community agreement between the city and the applicant. These plans changed a little bit, and we did get them to you, but it's not substantive for the purpose of me to walk you through this. Essentially, the main change had to do with the handicap access. We're no longer running that long ramp along the side. I'm wondering if you scroll down this, I want to see if they were able to include the addition, because there's a good existing photo.
Okay, I have 2 sets of slides, so just let me know whichever one works for you.
Oh, this is great. Yes, please. So this is the existing condition. You can see how there's this ramp that kind of goes up through the front of the building. If you go down to the next slide, you'll see. Yeah, that's just the elevation. If you go one more, you'll see the floor plan that the chair wanted. Yeah, there you go. So now you see that we're raising that long access ramp on the left side of the lot. The lot has been inverted now, so the Dudley Street is at the top of your screen. We've created this access for a handicap in the dark gray area at the front of the building. You'll access the dispensary in one door, and you'll leave the dispensary in another door. So you'll walk in through the front closest to those stairs. That's how you get into the building. There's a security check-in area. Once you're allowed through this, this is adult use. This is 21 and older. There is no medical here, which would allow for like 18 and older if you have an ID. This is just adult use. So you're only getting in if you're 21 and if you have a valid ID. You walk in through this, once you're verified and through that front door system, you're then brought into the showroom area. You're looking at about a total square footage of around 2,600 square feet up this area. And you will walk in and walk out after you've purchased through the other door that's off to the right there, the right of the L. Delivery of the product itself will occur through the rear of the building. And all of that we went through with the Boston Cannabis Board, with our security plan, et cetera.
So tell us how you would accommodate the demand as far as parking and lineup of clients.
Yeah, sure. If you go to maybe the rendering there, I think it'll give you an appreciation. Next slide. Maybe one more slide if you want to. I'll show you. Okay, this is better. So this shows you it's a self-contained area. There's 8 parking spaces there. Originally we thought we could get in 12, but after we played with it, eight spaces, which is more than a lot of the dispensaries you're going to be seeing. A lot of them do not have access to parking. And there's this canopy and overhang and this area of this raised kind of access to allow for the handicap ramp. All of that would allow for spillover if and when it was needed. We don't anticipate that. We do feel that the 2,600 square feet of the floor will accommodate the demand that we anticipate. Most of these dispensaries throughout Massachusetts aren't seeing anything near over 300 throughout the course of the entire day. They're all starting to normalize in their throughput of people.
Okay, so this is, what I'd be interested in knowing is that the location of the yellow car is the easement. So since it's a second lot, it appears that the building on our right, as we look at the screen, there is a possibility of another building going up there. And I noticed from a previous slide that building has a bunch of windows. How is the community protected in preventing that second building going up there? Is there anything that allows for that?
You'd be hard pressed to find. Your board, I don't think would allow us to try to build anything on that front yard. I mean, we're throwing off some variances here, but none of them are the result of a building. They're only created as a result of the subdivision of the property.
No, I get it. But the problem that we see is that these subdivisions go ahead, and I understand the reason for the subdivision here, but then we generally then see, after a few years, people coming in and wanting to fill every little square footage. So there's nothing is there anything, or are there any restrictions that will prevent a building going up in that lot?
Yeah, I understand the question. Well, it would be horribly counterintuitive because we would not, we would be blocking off development. We'd be blocking off access to our dispensary. We would be happy to have a proviso on this, parking only of that first lot, and any other conditions that we can think through. I just don't see it. If you go to the existing conditions photo, you get a better sense of what we're looking at here. We would be hard pressed to enjoy any support to try, like you said, Madam Chair, there's windows, and it was never contemplated. The original plans that we submitted to the board had a single lot, but then that violated the buffer rule. The city's trying to get 52 of these in the city. So by subdividing it, it allowed us to avoid that issue.
Okay.
But again, we'd be happy to have a proviso on this that says for parking only.
Okay, excellent. Mr. Ehrlich, how are the plans?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Jessica Thomas with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Our office hosted a robust community meeting on August 13, 2019. Petitioners also met with the Boston Cannabis Board and received approval there. Since then, we received over 150 letters of support from residents, neighborhood associations, and elected officials, including Councilor Janey, Frank Baker, State Rep Liz Miranda, and Congresswoman Ayanna Presley. We'd like to go on record to support the project.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Samuel Hurtado from President Kim Janey's office. President Janey would like to go on the record in support of this proposal. There has been an extensive community input from the team. I think these questions of putting the condition on the parking lot to be parking, I don't think we had enough time to go back to the community, but if that condition can be included, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Karen Foley, Councilor Asabi George's office, would like to go on record in support of this project. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Joe McEachran, City Council Frank Baker's office would like to go on record in support.
Madam Chair, Secretary here. We have 565 letters of support and 1 letter of opposition.
And what's the opposition based on?
They just strongly opposed.
Okay. Any other call-ins? I'd like to hear from Director Butters.
Erica, you're muted.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Erica Pacheco. I'm a resident at 150 Pleasant Street, number 3, and I just wanted to call in strongly in support of this proposal. As a community member, I am very pleased to see that this business is really focused on equity. I'm a woman of color here in Boston, and I'm just thrilled to see other people of color taking advantage of this opportunity to be in the cannabis industry. And I think that this is a small variance that will make a big impact in economic development for our city. And so I respectfully put in my support, and I hope that the Zoning Board of Appeals will approve it. Thank you.
Thank you. May I hear from caller user 22?
Caller, you're muted.
Hello, my name is Donnie Myers. I'm my address is 1517 West Cottage Street. I am strongly opposed to this business going forward. It's the type of business that I would not like to see in the area. And in fact, to be honest, I was only outreached by the Boston Inspectional Services, and I have not had any contact or outreach from anyone else. But as a 45-year resident and owner of property, I am totally opposed to this cannabis business coming into the area, given the state of the conditions and problems that we've had with opioids and halfway houses, treatment houses. It's just the type of business I would not want to see in the area. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so given that information, it sounds like we need to, of course, make it to this applicant only. Should there be a change, we would like to see it. The renderings and the existing conditions you showed us, Mr. Ross, identify the need for design review. And I think the third issue that we need to address is the dedicated parking for this business on that front lot. I don't know, are you calling it Lot A or Lot B?
The survey calls it Lot A.
Lot A.
Lot
Okay.
B is the parking.
So I'm sorry, Lot B is the parking?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it sounds like design review needs to also figure out screening and buffering. So may I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion for approval for this applicant only with BPDA design review and a proviso that the parking on Lot B, the parking be designated for Lot B.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'm going to go back to a case we called earlier, BOA 107-9344, 502 East 8th Street. Are you on? Madam Chair, it's now 11:45. I'm going to make a motion to deny without prejudice.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Chair, I'm going to call the 11:30s in real quick because I think we have quite a few withdrawals and quite a few deferrals, so I don't know.
Let's do that, and when we're done with that, we're going to take a 15-minute break.
Okay, I'm going to call the 11:30s for rediscussion. Are there any deferrals or withdrawals? Please address, please.
81 Rentham Street.
I'm sorry?
81 Rentham Street.
For the record, calling BOA 102-7521, 81 to 81A Rentham Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Attorney Derek Small, from the business address on 51 Dobson Road, Braintree, Mass. At this time, we are going to withdraw our application for this hearing.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
Make a motion for denial without prejudice.
Second, Joe.
All those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Address, please.
7 Wordsworth Street.
For the record, calling BOA 102-4093, 7 Wordsworth Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Attorney Jeff Drago with an address of 11 Beacon Street from Drago and Toscano. At this time, we are seeking a deferral. We have been working with the abutters. We did hear now from both the mayor's office and some abutters across the street. They would like us to address a few other issues, and we will be prepared, if we allowed to defer, to move forward at the next available hearing.
So is this your request for a second deferral, Counselor?
Well, we had, one was, Madam Chair, because there was only a 5-member board.
Yes.
So, and then this would be our second beyond that.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Motion to defer.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The date, please?
We are into February. February 2nd is the earliest we can get you in there at 11:30.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals?
44 Glendale Street.
For the record, calling BOA 105-4679, 44 Glendale Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Attorney John Haskell with a business address of 11 Beacon Street. On behalf of the petitioner seeking a deferral for 44 Glendale Street. After our deferral, last time we met with the local civic association and it was requested that additional changes be made. We're hoping to have an additional butters meeting this month to show those changes to the community.
And is this your second request for a deferral?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Motion to defer.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The date, please?
You have a date of February 2nd at 1 o'clock.
Thank you.
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals?
Seems like 2 projects need to be re-advertised. Is not North Bennett Street?
Madam Chair, I'm going to talk about those right now.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, calling BOA 101-2022, 14 North Bennett Street. Madam Chair, this is being heard on January 12, 2021 at 12:30. So I'll make a motion for deferral.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Chair, the next case, BOA 104-1086, 24 Spalding Street, is being deferred for December 8th at 12:30 as well. I'll make a motion for deferral.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Actually, since this only leaves us
There's
with...
2 cases.
Yeah, so let's go ahead with Whitby Street.
Okay, very good. Calling the next case, calling BOA 979-930, 16 Whitby Street. This is seeking to erect a 4-story building with 10 residential units and 10 parking spaces. Also to combine 2 lots into 1 lot of 9,000 square feet. Also raise the existing structure on a lot on a separate permit. The violation is Article 27T-5. This is in the East Boston iPod. Article 53, Section 56, off-street parking and loading requirement. Article 53, Section 56.5.A, parking maneuverability. Article 53, Section 8, the use is forbidden. Article 53, Section 9, the number of allowed stories has been exceeded. Article 53, Section 9, the height has been exceeded. Article 53, Section 9, excessive FAR. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient rear yard setback. Article 53, Section 54, screening and buffering, none is proposed. And Article 53, Section 57.2, conformity of an existing building alignment. Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Attorney Jeff Drago with an address of 11 Beacon Street from Drago and Toscano, representing the petitioner, Carolina Trujillo, and we also have Amir from Cripper Studios as the architect on the project. Just to clarify a couple points, this proposal has changed, so the description has changed from what was read. We are now seeking to raise the existing structure, combine 2 parcels that will now include a 9,000 square foot lot. This has now become a 3-story structure with a 7-unit residential condominium building, and we now have 13 interior parking spaces. The plans that Mr. Ehrlich has reflect that. There was also a roof deck at one time that has been removed. Mr. Ehrlich, there is a head house that is shown on those plans that should have been removed. We couldn't get the newer plans in early enough, but we are going on the record that we will not have a head house. We can go on as a proviso for that because there is no need. All of the roof decks have been removed. I can get into...
Okay, so...
Madam Chair, can I just ask the councilor a quick question?
Yes.
Well, this has been changed, but we have a letter here of opposition dated December 18th of 2019 from the Orient Heights neighborhood. Have you reached back out to them?
We have, and so what we've done since then is had multiple abutter meetings. Their concern and their ask of us was to continue to work with the abutters, and at our last meeting, we were able to get all the abutters that we talked to support this new and revised project.
Okay, so tell us, with this change, what violations, what changes have happened in the violations?
Okay, so we were actually able to remove 2 violations, Madam Chair, first and foremost. So we removed the height violation in feet. So what's allowable in this area is 35. We are now reduced to 30 feet. We were also removed the parking violation. What's required in this district is 12, and we have now 13 proposed spaces inside. So both of those were removed. The violations, if you'd like me just to continue on the violations that are still standing, we do have 7 units. It's multifamily residential, so that does trigger a use variance. Our FAR, although lowered, is now 1.05, and 0.8 is what's allowed in the district. And then our rear yard setback required would be 35, and we're at 12 feet, 5 inches in the back of the property. And I can go into the layout of the building. In the ground floor level, we have the 13 interior parking spaces. We also included a gym for this is a condo building, so for the residents of the condo. These are just existing condition pictures that are being shown. We have a bike storage area. We have
Are these micro units?
Oh, not at all. I'll go over the unit sizes in a moment. We have trash and mail room and an elevator, even though it's a three-story building, and 2 staircases. That's all housed through the ground level. As we go up to the 2nd floor, we have our units 1, 2, and 3. All the units in this building are 2-bedroom and 2-bath units. Unit 1 is 860 square feet plus a 60-foot terrace, so 920 feet total with indoor and outdoor space. We've got Unit 2, that's a 900 square foot, 2-bed, 2-bath, with a 170 square foot terrace, so that's 1,075. We have Unit 3, that is 1,325 interior space plus a 415 square foot terrace, so total would be 1,740. We have Unit 4, 2-bed, 2-bath with a terrace, total 1,325 square feet. That includes a 60-foot terrace. We have on the third floor, those are units 5.
Counselor, thank you. Anything else? Because I think we can see this on the, okay. Mr. Ehrlich, how are the plans?
The plans are fine. Just one question for Mr. Drago. You're continuing to show an elevator and no head house, but you would need a head house for the elevator, wouldn't you?
There would be a 3 to 4 foot overhang for that third floor, but that would be it, no head house. There's no roof access.
Okay, that I understand, but there needs to be a structure on the roof in order to accommodate the elevator machine.
Correct, yes. What I meant to say is not a full head house.
Okay, the drawings are fine.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Lina Tramelli with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on the record in support. The Office of Neighborhood Services held 3 abutters meetings for this project where the applicant worked close with the abutters, modify the proposal based on their feedback, decrease the number of units, increase the parking ratio, and remove the 4-story addition. Also change the whole design of the building. We also received 23 letters of support from abutters and residents of Orient Heights. Thank you.
Hello, Madam Chair, members of the board, Ricardo Patron from the Office of City Councilor Lydia Edwards. The council would like to leave this proposal at the board's discretion and would like to recognize the changes that the proponent has made as a result of community feedback.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, Secretary here. We have 26 letters of support and 5 letters of opposition.
Okay. Any raised hands, Ms. Ambassador?
No. Madam Chair, no raised hands. The raised hand is for another case.
Okay. Given that information, it sounds like since we do not have the updated plan, we do need to have a proviso that the head house be removed and of course design review. So may I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve BPDA design review and hold signature until the new plans are submitted.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much, board.
Calling the last case for 11:30, calling BOA 102-5837, 79 Regis Road. This is a change of occupancy from a 2 to a 3 family and build 2 shed dormers. The bring egress up to code. Violations, Article 60, Section 40, off-street parking is insufficient. Article 60, Section 8, 3 units use is forbidden. Article 60, Section 9, the lot area is insufficient. Article 60, Section 9, the floor area ratio is excessive. Article 60, Section 9, the building height is excessive in stories. Article 60, Section 9, the usable open space is insufficient. Article 60, Section 9, the front yard is insufficient. Article 60, Section 9, the side yard is insufficient. And Article 60, Section 9, the rear yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
There you go. Hello?
Yes, please put your name and address on the record.
Hi, I'm Andre Jules. I'm the owner of 79 Regis Road. Here I have my contractor, John Ferroli. He's going to speak on my behalf.
Good morning, everybody. My name is John Ferroli. My company's R&G Contracting. We're located at 839 Columbia Road. And we'd like to build a couple dormers, 3rd level, of the existing property at 76 Regis Road.
Okay. So is this owner occupied?
Yes, it is right now.
Okay, so tell us, so describe to us what's being proposed. The unit, the third unit is being accomplished through a dormer. Tell us what's changed and what's changed since you were deferred.
Okay. There's basically no changes. On the plans that we submitted originally, it's pretty much going to stay the same. And it comes down to just us building the dormers and opening up the egress areas for headroom. Everything exists. The hallways are there for the egress on both ends. So they want to basically change the floor plan, make two bedrooms out of it with the addition of the dormers to let more light in and obviously have more living space.
And is there any occupancy in the basement?
Right now, no.
Are you proposing any occupancy in the basement?
No.
Okay.
Right now, Andre, what is it right now? It's just a mechanical?
Yeah, it's just like the storage and, like mechanical laundry.
Okay, and tell us about let's just see, because you're a corner lot, you trigger a lot. How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
They're fairly minimal, but the project, proposal itself is pretty minimal.
Okay, any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support?
Yes, Madam Chair, Whitney Celestin with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I held two abutters meetings actually, one on March 12th of 2020 and another on September 17th. And we would like to go on the record in support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, Secretary here. We have 6 letters of support and 1 letter of opposition, and the opposition is seeking the home go from a 2-family to a 3-family.
Okay. Is anybody else, are there any other raised hands? Hearing none, may I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve BPDA design review.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. It is now 12:02. We will recess until 12:30. Any applicants requesting deferrals or withdrawals for 12:30, please let Ms. Ambassador know. No, thank you. Thank you. The meeting for November 10th is back in session. Mr. Fortune, please go ahead. But before we do that, I want to remind every applicant that this is a 6-member board and you will need 5 members to be in support of a project for it to carry. If you have any questions, you may decide to defer to another date when we have a fuller board.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to call the 12:30 deferrals and withdrawals. Address first, please.
Good afternoon, Madam Secretary. Attorney John Plugini. I have 2 deferrals. The first one is 68 Armandine Street.
Okay, I know the other one, so I'll call them both in. Case BOA 1075915, 68 Armandine Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, direct members of the board, Attorney John Plugini, 10 Forbes Road in Braintree, on behalf of the applicants. So we're requesting a deferral for 68 Armandine Street. There was some community concern about density and parking. We have reduced the size of the building and also added 33% more parking. And we need the opportunity to get back to the Dorchester United Neighborhood Association to present the updated drawings.
Okay, may I have a motion for deferral?
Motion for deferral.
Second, Joe.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The date, please.
We have a date of February 23rd at 1 o'clock. And the other case, case BOA 1098890, 35 Avalon Road. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, Attorney John Polgini, 10 Forbes Road in Braintree, on behalf of the applicant. Again, this is, there has been some changes to the plans, but also there's a violation that was with the existing house that was not cited, so we need to correct that before we can present to the ZBA.
Motion for deferral.
Second, Joe.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The date, please.
Date of February 23rd at 1 o'clock.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
So are there any other deferrals or withdrawals? Address, please.
6 Magdala Street.
For the record, calling BOA 1071651, 6 Magdala Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Attorney Mahoney at 160 Federal Street for 6 Magdala Street, requesting a deferral.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
Deferral.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The date, please.
We have a date of February 23rd at 1 o'clock.
Thank you very much.
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals for 12:30? Hearing none, I'll call the first case. Calling BOA 1051289, 293 Northampton Street. The applicant seeks to continue the use premises of public parking lot for a fee, the capacity of 19 vehicles and 1 handicap parking spot, and 18 regular parking spaces, which expires on November 30th, 2020. The violations, Article 6, Section 4, other conditions of protection, change in the previous decision of the Zoning Board of Appeal. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon. My name is David Gottlieb. Address is 309 Washington Street in Brighton, and I represent the applicant.
Please tell us what's being proposed.
What's being proposed, Madam Chair, is an extension of the use of premises. The use of premises permit expires November 30, 2020. We are seeking a 3-year extension to November 30, 2023. I sent the board not only the plan, but the photographs of improvements that we've undertaken here at the parking lot with the approval of the South End District Landmark Commission. After obtaining approval from the South End Landmark District Commission, we also obtained a short form building permit at the Inspectional Services Department and installed plantings and also a fence at this property in the summer of 2020. So we've improved both not only the screening in the lot, but also the plantings in the lot, and have also installed a new granite curb, which was improved by the South End Landmark District Commission and fits with the character of the neighborhood.
And, okay. How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
They're adequate.
Okay. I'd like to see, Counselor, that the ownership make sure that they maintain the plantings, because I've been noticing the other one that we had an issue with in the South End earlier, that you know, those need to be consistently maintained and upgraded. I'll just put that in as a comment. Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Faisal Sharif with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We did hold a community process related to the extension of this use. Abutters were generally comfortable with the existing use as the parking lot. We echo the chair's concerns about making sure that there's a maintenance plan related to the new plan. Another thing that did come up from neighbors was related to handicap accessible parking. We understand that the operator maintains that they are providing the appropriate ratio as determined by the state the number of handicap accessible spots that they're required to put in there. But we do ask that they consider adding another handicap accessible space because there is definitely a need in this neighborhood for that, particularly from the surrounding residences. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else to speak on this project?
Madam Chair, we have 2 letters of support, no letters of opposition.
Okay. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve for a 3-year term.
Can we have,
Screening and buffering?
can we have, yes, a review of screening and buffering, but also have the cities, have Bob D'Amico involved to address the handicapped issue?
Accepted, sure.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 1119614, 16 Gaston Street. This is to remove stairs from the proposed porch deck, add a dormer on the 3rd floor, and expand the roof deck. The violation is Article 9, Section 1. This is a 4-unit building in a 3F 4000 subdistrict, extension of the Unit 4 with dormer and roof deck. Name and address for the record, please.
Is the applicant here?
What was the name?
We're waiting for the applicant on Gaston Street.
Yes, that is us. This is Sonia Santos.
Okay. Please tell us, put your name and address on the record and tell us what's being proposed.
Yes, this is Sonia Santos, owner of 16 Gaston Street in Boston, 02121. And what I am proposing is a dormer on the 3rd floor and a roof deck. The dormer is for the purpose of raising the ceiling in the bathroom because of the current, without the dormer, the ceiling is slanted and a person cannot stand up in the bathroom. I also sent over a PowerPoint yesterday, which would show you the visual. I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to review it. In the roof deck is for the flat part of the roof so that I can be able to, go from the back door onto the roof deck.
So this is a 4-unit building?
Yes.
Okay, and give us a general sense on the size of the units, how many bedrooms and the general size, and if there's occupancy in the basement?
There is no occupancy. There's no occupancy in the basement. It's 1 unit on the 1st floor, 2 units on the 2nd floor, and 1 unit on the 3rd floor. The 3rd floor is a 1-bedroom. So it just consists of a bedroom, kitchen, a small little living area, and 1 full bathroom.
Okay, so stay on this. How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
The drawings are okay.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Jessica Thomas with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We hosted an abutters meeting on October 22nd. During the call, direct abutters were very supportive of the proposal. We also received a support letter from Project Right Incorporated, and we'd like to go on record to support the project.
Anybody else to speak on this project, either in support or in opposition?
Madam Chair, we have one, Secretary here, we have 1 letter of support, no letters of opposition.
Okay.
I'd like to make a...
Ms. Ambassador, anybody else that we're waiting on?
No raised hands, Madam Chair.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve. Go ahead.
Motion to approve a BPDA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 106-0086, 110 to 114A Stoughton Street. This is to remove the proviso for takeout from the previous owner and transfer the new owner's name. The violations, Article 6, Section 4, the takeout proviso granted to petitioner a change of petitioner. Name and address for the record, please.
I'm looking for the applicant to see if he's on, or she's on. Okay, Kemlet.
Hello?
Can you hear?
Yes, we can hear. So put your name and address on the record, please, and tell us what you're proposing to do.
It's Carmen Mejia, 212 Staunton Street.
112.
Oh, 112 Staunton Street.
Yeah.
So tell us what you're planning on doing.
We want to change the name to the owner now.
And what's the name of the restaurant?
Now it's Dora's Taqueria. Before it was Borinquen Bakery.
I'm sorry, what is it now? Who's Taqueria?
Dora's. D-O-R-A. D-O-R-A.
Okay, Dora's Taqueria. Okay. And so this, okay. Do you have how are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
There's no work to be done, so they're minimal, they're fine.
Okay, any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Chantal Lima Barboza with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. The applicant received support from the Dorchester North Neighborhood Association. No concerns were raised by the abutters. The Mayor's Office would like to go on record in support.
Do you know if this frontage has grates on it?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Joe McEachran, City Council, Frank Baker's office would like to go on record and support as well.
Joe, do you know if this frontage has grates on it?
I don't, Madam Chair.
Okay, so it looks like,
Madam Chair, give me a second, I'll look it up.
okay.
Madam Chair, we would also like to petition to stay open until 10 p.m.
So Taqueria, and this is, let's see. So this is for takeout until 10 p.m. every day of the week?
Yes.
I guess, Mr. Fortune?
Madam Chair, there are no grates.
Okay, yeah, and Google's not very helpful because there's a truck right in front of it, huh?
Oh, I can see it clearly.
Okay, you can, okay, good. Okay, so did we hear from everybody in support? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve for this applicant only with the usual takeout language.
Okay. Okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 104-3402, 5 Orlando Street.
Aprobaron todo eso desde 10 también porque te acabó el pero tú le mandas un mensaje de Chandel.
This is to change occupancy from 11 apartments to 12 apartments, renovate the existing storage area, and convert to Unit 3. There are violations, Article 60, Section 37, off-street parking is insufficient. Article 60, Section 8, a basement apartment is forbidden. Article 60, Section 9, the floor area ratio is excessive. Article 60, Section 9, the usable open space is insufficient. And Article 9, Section 2, change in a non-conforming use. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Charlie Tebden, 15 Broad Street, Boston, representing the applicant Brian Holland, the owner of 5 Orlando Street.
So tell us what's being proposed.
Madam Chair, this is an existing 11-unit building, brick building. There are photos that were submitted with the various documents in support. And it was constructed in 1960 as a 12-unit building. There are 4 units on there are 3 units existing on the first level, and this would be, the proposal is to add a 4th unit in what was in 1960 reserved for a superintendent as an office. And the existing, although this is referred to in the refusal letter as a basement apartment, it is in fact located on the first level, and there are 3 other existing units located on this first level. There are no structural changes being sought. The 11-unit apartment building is located directly across from the 17-acre Almont Park. There is more than adequate on-street parking available.
Let's just backtrack a little bit. So tell us about this unit. What's the floor to ceiling height? What's the square footage of the proposed unit? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I can answer the square footage, Madam Chair. It's 475 square feet. It is a small unit, single bedroom, with a proposed rent for a working person of $1,200 per month. I understand that the BPDA is in support of this application.
No, I just need you to talk and tell us why we as a board should consider this. Because it's, let's see, you say it's 475 square feet. Tell us the floor to ceiling height and tell us what the floor to sill height is. It looks like there's only 1 window in that unit. Is that true?
That is not true, Madam Chair. There are 2 units. I'm sorry, there are 2 windows.
Okay.
And I cannot answer the floor to ceiling, but I do know that it meets code. There are 2 entries to the unit. I think to speak about the history, Madam Chair, a similar proposal went before the zoning board months ago.
I just want to focus on this because as I look at this ground floor use, the other units look like they're nice and sizable. This looks like it's kind of on the small end. I'm just looking at the drawings here.
Yes.
Let's just see. So tell us why we should approve this. And you mentioned a $1,200 per month rent. I mean, is this meant? How long is this meant to last for a 1-bedroom?
For the foreseeable long-term future, Madam Chair.
Is that 5 years? Is that 10 years? I mean, because the relief goes with the property. So is this then until this building is no longer in use?
Well, Madam Chair, to answer the first question about the size and why is this unit smaller as compared to the other 3 units that are shown on the plan, the reason is that although this was constructed as a 12-unit building, ultimately the permit that was issued in 1960 was for 11 units, and there was a reserve made for a laundry room, which is adjacent to this unit, and then the other reserve space was for the superintendent's office. So the reason for that is that it's right next to the laundry, which you can see on the plan. I think that it is important for me to note the history of this project, because 12 months ago it went in front of the board. The vote, there were only 5 members present. The vote was 4-1, and Madam Chair, you did oppose it. And I do believe that the reason is because at that time, the BPDA opposed the unit as too small. However, in this new proposal, the unit is larger, it's slightly larger, and the BPDA is in favor. And I think that...
So how much larger is it? What was the size that was before us before, and now it's 475?
Yes, the size initially presented.
Yeah, go ahead.
The size initially presented was 450 square feet, which the BPDA had identified, had noted to its recommendation to the board 12 months ago was too small. We had an extensive community process. It will take.
Let me just ask you, so you were the one who brought up the rent. So how long do you anticipate the rent staying at $1,200 a month?
I can say for as long as that is the market value, and that is the market value right now for that unit. And I think that there was a letter of support from the Greater Mattapan Neighborhood Council.
You know what, we'll hear all of that from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services and everybody else, but you need to give us the rationale. Okay, so how do you plan, Mr. Ehrlich?
Well, the plans that I received were only one page, and it was just a floor plan, an existing floor plan, and proposed floor plan. It looks like what's on the screen is 17 pages, so I guess there were no elevations, there was no nothing. And because of the way it was described in the posting, I assumed it was a basement unit. The applicant is saying that no, that it's ground floor.
You know, from the front, it may be ground floor, and Google Maps, needless to say, Colette, can you scroll through so we can see what that rear unit looks like from the exterior?
There is no elevations. It's all just kind of like paperwork.
Okay, well, if there's no elevations, I mean, so what?
Can I describe?
What is the relationship to grade of this unit?
It is slightly below grade, Mr. Ehrlich. It is, but I would not describe it as a basement unit. But at front, there were photos that were provided, and I believe that they will be part of the 17 pages.
Okay, well, all right, Madam Chair, I don't have enough plans to be able to make any judgment about whether they're adequate or not. And
can I interject, please?
Excuse me, let me speaking. And Madam Chair, this was a superintendent's office, which is typically undersized in an apartment building, and now they're trying to make a residential unit out of it, and somehow they went from 450 to 475 square feet. I'm not quite sure where they got the extra 25 feet, but it seems to be still undersized, and in the absence of more drawings, I don't feel comfortable drawing any conclusions.
Well, may I have a motion for deferral?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The date, please.
We are February 23rd at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Counselor, in the meantime, can you make sure that we have good photographs and good explanation of the floor to sill height and anything else that would help us with our decision?
They were provided, Madam Chair, and they were provided prior to this hearing, but I will make sure that they will be there for the next deferred hearing. Thank you.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 1019220, 645 River Street. This is a existing grocery store.
Hold on, Mr. Fortune. I see a note that does River Street want to defer? Go ahead. I don't know necessarily you need to read it all into the record. Mr. Fortune?
Well, it's quite extensive. If you're going to read in the records, they're going to defer.
So let's just see. Is Mr. Lewis on at all? Mr. Christian Lewis?
Yes.
Yes. Please put your name and address on the record and tell us what you intend to do.
Okay, I'm the co-owner. My name is Demetrius Jane. The address is 645 River Street in Hyde Park, Massachusetts, 02136.
Are you deferring this case?
Yes, ma'am, because the architect that was supposed to talk on our behalf, he's not present due to a sickness. So we'd like him to, he'd be able to explain the project more than we can.
Okay, so may I have a motion, please?
Motion for deferral.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any
Right,
opposed? The date, please.
James,
The date, please.
We have a date of February 23rd at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 107-3979, 60 Wyndham Road. This is to remove an existing roof frame, add a second floor and new roof frame. The violations, Article 69, Section 9, front yard is insufficient. Article 69, Section 9, the side yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
William Bowler, 76 Chapel Street in Norwood, Mass.
So tell us what's being proposed.
Taking the roof off of an existing single-story house and adding a second story to provide more bedrooms and a bathroom.
Okay. And it looks like the violations are existing yard violations. How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich? Mr. Ehrlich, how are the plans?
The plans are okay.
Okay. Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Danielle Fonseca with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, the new liaison representing Hyde Park. We would like to go on record in support of this proposal. The applicant has notified all abutters, and we have heard no concerns regarding this proposal. We believe it's a small project that will not negatively impact the community. We have no further questions or concerns at this time. Thank you.
Welcome, Danielle.
Madam Chair, Secretary here. We have one letter of support, one letter of opposition.
And what is the opposition based on?
Just opposed to the project.
Okay. Is the city councilor's office going to speak?
I have one raised hand, Madam Chair.
Okay, let's go for it.
Josh?
Oh, sorry, we're the homeowner.
Thank you.
Josh Springer, okay. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve BPDA design review.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 895-482-1589 to 1593 Blue Hill Avenue. This is a change of occupancy from a check cashing facility to a cannabis establishment, modifying the existing layout and conditions of the interior of the building. Violation of Article 60, Section 16, use of regulations in neighborhood business subdistrict, cannabis establishment is a conditional use. Name and address for the record, please.
Hello, Madam Chair, members of the board. This is Mike Ross, attorney Mike Ross with the law firm of Prince Lobel. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Verdant Medical. Tito Jackson, the CEO, who's on the call with us. This is solely, the relief we're seeking today is solely based on the use itself. The use to take this, we can look at this existing photo, to take the structure at 1589, 1593 Blue Hill Ave, which is a laundry facility and a check cashing facility, both those two parts of that building, and convert it into an approximate 5,000 square foot adult use retailer to operate at this location. The hours of operations that we're proposing are 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. There'll be a separate entrance and exit to the facility at Blue Hill Avenue, which is to the right of your screen. There's a secure check-in area and a pretty large kind of queuing area for the front. All deliveries will be securely provided through the rear along that back, the leftmost alley. We have a rendering actually at the next slide, just to quickly show you, as well as a, yep, there you go. It's just the rendering of kind of what it will look like at that location. And there's also a one more slide, which will show you the, there's a survey at the end. There you go. This is the, just a elevation. Sorry, I was looking for the word. I couldn't find. This is just an elevation from the front, looking at it from Blue Hill Avenue, and then there's a survey in the final item.
Okay, so it's an hours of operation at 10 to 9. Can we just look at the layout just a little bit and find out how you're going to be accommodating for any lines that might appear?
Yeah. This particular dispensary is actually probably about twice as large as what we previously went through earlier today. It's at 5,000 square feet. It's really an optimal size to allow for the demand that we would anticipate. That upper right-hand corner of the floor plan will show you the area where people will do two things. One is show their ID and make sure that they're allowed to enter, but there's also a desk there that we're requiring all of our customers to sign a good neighbor agreement, which says that they agree not to do, smoke outside and other types of things, otherwise they won't be allowed back. Once they clear security, they're allowed in. That's a fairly large area to bring people in. There's also a rope and stanchion internally to create a line and a queuing area to the extent we need it. Probably the strongest strength of this proposal is this bank of point of sale systems. We have the ability to really light up almost a dozen point of sale systems to bring people through quickly. That's the effect it will have. We probably won't need on any given day that many people, but if we ever do, we'll be able to pull a lot of people through the throughput. And then the rest of the facility, it's a one-floor facility, is the secure area that lines it really to the right and the rear. And that's all the vault and the employee break room and the like.
So what is the building, as you look at it on the right-hand side, it looks like a brick building. Is that residential?
No. If we go up one to the original, that's right. There you go. If you go to the right, that is the Mattapan Health Center, and it actually contains a CVS at the ground floor. The vision specialists or whatever that is there, that's going to remain. That's a buffer between us and them, and that will remain where it is. It's just the check cashing and the laundry that will be converted into the cannabis establishment. I also should point out to the board that there is kind of an embarrassment of riches with street parking and municipal lot parking. There's within one block over 140 off-street municipal lot parking spaces, and then along the street itself, you all know Mattapan Square, there's 46 angled parking on this block alone on this side, and then on the other side, I think there's 39 angled parking across the street.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
Well, the drawings are, it's very minimal, just a floor plan. Mr. Ross, since it's only a one-floor establishment, no basement, I assume the vault is used for storage of goods?
That's right. The vault will be, yeah, exactly. Yes, Mr. Ehrlich.
Okay, the drawings are fine.
And second is, will you have any security? Because I understand people may sign a good neighbor agreement, but how do you enforce it?
So there was an extensive process went through the Boston Cannabis Board where we laid out our security directive, and the person who actually did that presentation is on the call here with us, Tito Jackson. He has a very strong grasp of his operations. I'd be happy to have him speak to that issue, if that's okay.
Yes, please, Mr. Jackson, put your name and address on the record. And I was sorry to hear about the incident in proximity of your house or at your house.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. My name is Tito Jackson. I live at 37 Schuyler Street. I call it Roxbury. You guys might call it something different, 02121. We on the security front, it's something that that's very important to us. We are looking to have a local security company who we partner with. We've been speaking to multiple security companies, including Westcon, which is a local minority-owned security company. We will have multiple people outside at all times to ensure, one, that no one under the age of 21 enters the building, but 2, that we have a orderly entrance into the building at all times. We have a shared connection with you relative to wanting people to be safe and to absolutely feel safe as they enter and exit. And all of our cash management as well as our product management is also based around that issue.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Caitlin Fleischman here from Councilor Arroyo's office. We're here in support. We supported during the licensing process, and we are really support in strong backing.
Is anybody here from the mayor's office?
Yes, Madam Chair, Whitney Celestin. On 1589 Blue Hill Ave, we did hold an abutters meeting on January 17th of 2019. Thereafter, they were reviewed by the Boston Cannabis Board on August 12, 2020, where they were approved. So we'd like to go on the record in support.
Okay. Caitlin, this might be one of your early days on this board. We generally like to hear from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services first, okay? Anybody else to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, Secretary here, we have 83 letters of support, no letters of opposition.
Madam Chair, I have one raised hand.
Okay, let's go for it.
She actually unraised her hand. Thank you.
So it sounds like you guys did a good job at the ground level. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Can we have this with design review and like the previous one to this applicant only?
Yes, we can.
Okay, is there a second?
Second, Joe.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Good luck.
Much, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 108-2341, 8 Ready Avenue. This is a change of occupancy from a 2-family to a 3-family. Interior renovations of an existing basement and conversion into a 2-bedroom apartment. Remote egress doors and egress windows at each bedroom. The violation is Article 69, Section 29, off-street parking is insufficient. Article 69, Section 8, the use is forbidden. Article 69, Section 8, the basement units are not allowed. Article 69, Section 9, additional lot area is insufficient. Article 69, Section 9, the floor area ratio is excessive. Article 69, Section 9, usable open space is insufficient. Article 69, Section 9, the front yard is insufficient. And Article 69, Section 9, the side yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Welcome, Madam Chair and members of the board. My name is Gerard Georges at 78 Blake Street, the project designer. We're speaking and representing the owner, Paul Britton. Mr. Britton, in the effort to provide much needed housing within Hyde Park and Boston proper, would like to request a relief for change of use from a 2-family structure to a 3-family by adding a 2-bedroom apartment unit in the existing basement with minimal structural for the window openings and the new egress door openings. The relief also is a request to negate the lot requirements due to the similar type housing along Wood Ave, River Street, and a few other of the neighborhood streets. Parking, on-site parking is provided for 3 vehicles. It's 60 feet and 10 foot wide. The street has about 1,000.
So, can you please hold on?
Okay.
Is this conversion already in place?
No.
No? Okay.
No. Existing basement that's unused at the moment.
Okay, because I just feel like I can almost see 3 mailboxes. So tell us about the floor to ceiling height And tell us about the floor to ceiling height. Tell us what's the grade difference between the floor and the lowest sill of the window? Because as I look at it, it's just such a pretty house as is. I'm just wondering why the applicant would want to do this.
So as I mentioned, the opportunity to provide additional.
No, I understand that, but please talk it through. Sure. It looks like it's the applicant is getting very fair use of his property, and that this is just a massive extension that I don't know will really support much because it is a forbidden use. It's really forbidden in this neighborhood district. So tell us again about the floor to ceiling height, and tell us about the square footage, the proposed square footage of the unit.
Sure. The proposed square footage is 1,274 square feet, inclusive of the exterior walls and not including the existing mechanical space that has the boilers and meters. The floor to ceiling height for the basement is incorrectly shown at 7'1". It should be 7'6". To provide the minimum ceiling height needed for habitable unit. The existing property sits high on a front retaining wall, which is about 2'4" off of the sidewalk, and then there are stairs that lead you to a front porch. The proposed renovations would cut into that retaining wall and provide a walkway down to the new entrance for this unit. And there would be a similar cutout for rear egress towards the backyard. 2 windows at the bedrooms would be, and the kitchen would be cut down with a sill height of 44 inches and will be provided with a Bilco escape well egress system so that it meets all fire code requirements for egress out of the unit.
Does the owner live in this house?
Yes, the owner lives on the first floor and has a second floor tenant currently.
It's just such a pretty house as is. I'm just curious why you'd want to do that. But anyway, how are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
He's on mute.
Hi, the plans are very confusing. There's a lot of contradictory information. The things that I always look for, like the basement floor to grade, at one point it shows 4'1", another point it shows 5'1", and as the applicant said, it shows floor to ceiling height 7'1", which is clearly a violation of code. Now, the applicant says it should be it's going to be 7'6", but that's not what the drawings show. So these plans are not adequate, and it is very much, it looks to be very much a space that will have very limited natural light and will be largely below grade.
So may I have a motion, please?
May I respond to that?
No, we're kind of used to seeing these plans, sir. May I have a motion, please?
A motion to defer until better plans can be submitted.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
You have a date of February 23rd at 1 o'clock. Case of the day, calling VOA 105-9524, 324 Summit Avenue. This is a change of occupancy from a 3-family dwelling to a 4-family dwelling and extend living space to the basement to create unit floor. Violations, Article 51, Section 8. Basement apartment is forbidden. Article 51, Section 9, lot area is insufficient. Article 51, Section 9, the floor area ratio is excessive. Article 51, Section 9, usable open space is insufficient. Article 51, Section 9, the location of the main entrance shall face the front lot line. And Article 51, Section 56, off-street parking is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Nick. He's unmuted. I don't know what's going on.
It's getting late in the day. Is this Nick? Nick, can you please unmute?
Unless it's not his case. I mean,
well, that's the last case. So, who's here for 324 Summit Ave?
David O'Sullivan from O'Sullivan Architects here for that. Nick should be on. I just texted him to ask him where he was.
Okay, so I think he's attempting to unmute. Nick, we still cannot hear you. Cannot hear you. Okay, he's throwing up his hands in despair. So, Mr. O'Sullivan, can you please tell us what's being proposed?
So the proposal here is to take an unfinished space on the ground level that is underutilized and add a new studio apartment. There are 4 parking spaces at the rear. The picture there is the front. We will be, I don't know if Nick jump in. That the existing building has 3 units on the upper floors that are 1 2-bedroom and 2 3-bedrooms.
So I'm sorry, what is this unit proposed to be? Is it a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom?
It's a studio.
It's a studio.
We're proposing a new studio on the ground level that would have 460 square feet. It has a ceiling height of 7'6".
Okay.
The front would have 2 large windows in the space. There are 2 smaller windows on either side. You're looking right now at the existing. Those 2 front windows will be enlarged to basically 5-foot high windows. They're 2'10" wide.
Okay, and
you move down a little more.
Just as a matter of questioning, is this a separately owned unit from the other brick buildings down the street?
Yes, our client only owns this one building.
Okay. Okay, and tell us about the utility room. Tell us where it's located and if it's separate.
If you go to the next sheet down, I believe, on the presentation, this is a plan of the existing over on the left. On the right, you can see the new unit, which is towards the front of the building. And then there is a stair in the lower left that would be the entrance into a corridor. The back would be a utility room. And then there's an exit out the lower right. So this unit would be entered off a common corridor that would provide access to utility rooms. And then this building will have a new fully sprinkled, all 4 units would have a new fire sprinkler system where none exist previously for safety. And we have a new sprinkler room over in the front right corner of the building. So it's a studio apartment of 460 square feet.
Okay, thank you. Hold on for a minute. I don't think Nick's on, so Mr. Ehrlich, how are the plans?
They are frustrating. This is once again an example of an undersized unit, 460 square feet, in a basement that is intended to be a basement. And there are no sections, there are no elevations, which always make me suspicious, because then I can never see what the floor to ceiling height is, what the floor to grade height is, what the floor to window sill height is. It's
You know, Mr. Ehrlich, I'm always comfortable. I am comfortable when the use is forbidden, a basement use is forbidden. And in fact, we hold to that. because it looks like, you know, if somebody was living in that unit and if there was a fire right outside their front door, you know, I'm fine with the notion of sprinkles and sprinkler systems. However, there are issues with this. So I'm perfectly fine because we are seeing an increase in the number of requests for standalone basement units that just add density with little value to the community.
If you look, Mr. Urick, there is a section on the sheet right here that tells you, shows you the 5-foot window, shows you the 7'10" ceiling, 7'6" ceiling height.
Okay, so what's the, I'm looking at, what's the floor to grade level height?
The floor to grade is probably approximately 3.5 feet.
Right, it's probably approximately because you don't have that dimension. You have a 3-foot dimension there, but that's not to the floor. That's what I mean. That's what I mean, and there ought to be an elevation of the entire unit because I don't know what the topography is, whether the grade is level. If it just at this point what it is, yes, fine. But what about throughout? That's what the drawing should show. You're an architect, you know that. And I am not prepared to act on drawings this inadequate.
You know, I think we have to just step back to the more philosophical issue because this lot, I think there is, can you, Colette, can you go to the rear view that showed the decks? Because I think, it'll show you that it's fairly flat at this place. At this place, and so you can see the dig out to that second means of egress that is there by the deck.
Well, your question for me is whether the drawings are adequate, and my answer would be no.
Okay, and excellent. So,
if you go to the next, keep going down, you can see.
Mr. Sullivan, can you hold on, please? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, would go in support of this proposal. My office conducted a butters meeting on September 15th. The only concerns raised were a tenant also in the building just had questions about the scale and the scope of the construction because they work from home. The applicant went on to the Brighton Allston Improvement Association, also received their support as well. With many proposals in the Allston-Brighton area, a lot of them are big increases in density. Not so in this case. We think it's very minimal, and we think the impact on the neighborhood will be minimal as well. We think it's a great chance to add an additional unit that's probably going to be more affordable than a lot of the other market rate ones. Thank you.
Anybody from the city councilor's office?
Yes, I'm going to unmute her. Councilor Breeden's office.
Hi, this is Laura Creed from Councilor Breeden's office. Councilor Breeden would like to go on record as being in opposition to this project. We have concerns over the unit's overall quality and the unit's access to natural light given its location in the basement.
Thank you. Anybody else online, Madam Ambassador?
Yes, good afternoon, Council. Sorry. Good afternoon, Chairwoman. Karen Foley, Office of Boston City Council at East Wasabi George, would like to go on record in opposition. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have Annabelle Gomes on the line as well, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Annabelle Gomes from the Brighton Allston Improvement Association. We voted to support this unit. We were told that there will be full-size windows in the front. The side windows will almost be full-size, and the ceiling height is 7'6". And what we thought as a benefit to the community would be that the building will be sprinklered and hardwired, which is important, and a safety issue. And we also feel that a studio unit in a lower level would be more affordable since we don't have that many affordable units. One unit we thought would be worthwhile. So we'd like to go on record in support. Thank you.
And did you have anything that said, anything in writing that said that it would be affordable, or is it
just something that we hope for, Annabelle? We don't have anything in writing that says it will be affordable. With my knowledge of the market, usually the lower level units are always substantially less than anything above grade all the way. So just with that knowledge, I would say that, but in writing, no.
I kind of wonder about people's mental health, especially with more people working from home, being in a basement, but that's neither here or there. So anybody else to speak on this project?
Madam Chair, it's Jeff.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, Madam Chair. As the board is aware, our formal recommendation to you was to deny without prejudice because we did have concerns about natural light in the access to the basement unit. I know that Mr. O'Sullivan and Nick have been working with the Olson Brighton planner ever since our board date about a month ago, showing new plans and echoing the comments that Annabella had made about full-size windows and getting more light and air in there. Our neighborhood planner for Brighton is actually, if this were to come before us now, we would recommend approval with just no building code relief. However, our formal recommendation is still denial without prejudice, but we do feel more comfortable now than we did when we saw this.
Okay. So given all that information, may I have a motion, please?
I'm going to make a motion for denial without prejudice, which would against my better judgment, would allow the applicant to go and redesign. I hope they could get more square footage and natural light, because this problem of these underground basement apartments is getting increasingly problematic.
Motion already.
May I have a second? Is there a second?
Yep. Madam Chair, this is Attorney Zazula. I apologize. I don't know if I have a minute to maybe pull this back from the brink or not.
Yeah, I think we're in the middle of a motion, so I appreciate your valiant attempt on this. Was there a second on this?
Yeah, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Oh.
Okay, meeting is now adjourned. We will talk to everybody, I guess, next week.